see the vodka car champions. Celtic way, wait for the ball from side to side, and until they try to hide, the wait for the ball from front to back, attack, 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 67, and then he's a burst man. Good evening everybody, welcome to Celtic Rumours TV, episode number 219 of the Bawz and Bovril podcast, with myself, Mark. Tonight we've got the Bishop with us. How are you doing, John?
Aye. Good Mark. How's yourself? How's things going?
Aye, no bad. Living the dream. Big Jerry's out in gritting shift. He might be popping on, he says, and Terence might be coming on as well. As I said, this is a podcast for my forum, the www.CelticRumours, I think that was one, maybe too many W's, CelticRumoursTV.co.uk. You can find a link to everything in that in the description box below. But every year we do a charity fundraiser for my local food bank through the chapel. We're at £800 now, I think, £850 in fact we're at the now, which is brilliant. If anybody can afford to get into that, please do. The link to that's below as well. If you can't, don't sweat it, it's no hassle, and we're not forcing anybody to get anything that they can't afford or that. Just a wee shout outs to some of the lads for the forum now, Paul, Terry might be coming on, Jerry McGinn, old Tim Alloy, Mikey, wee John United Ireland, Big Jabber, Welshie, Kev, Steve Kev, Malika, TB for the Discord as well. Who have we got in tonight? Bobby will have been on first. Bobby was like, we can't be doing a podcast, it's just got to be everybody moaning all the time. I'm not need to, everybody's got to moan, do you know what I mean? Grot bags. James White, thanks for coming in, mate. Patrick McLaughlin, nice to see you again, mate. Flip flop to super duper. McMulner, nice to see you, pal. Des732, thanks very much for coming in. Francis the Third McFarland, that's a evening, thanks for coming in on a Permo. Ken like Kev, 123 evening, mate, thanks very much for coming in as well. Oh, we'll get down to it first. Oh, there's Ter there.
Let's go see your headphones.
Good evening, gentlemen.
There he is. We're in with angry Irish. We're in with angry Irishman. We're in with pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. How are you doing, Ter?
Grand. You couldn't but be angry watching that. Jesus. Not a clue.
Grim has been grim, it really has. But we'll start off. John, were you at the game? Were you at the Hearts game last week?
Aye, I was. I was acting back like a drunk rat. Absolutely soaked to the skin. Walked up through for Carntyne up to the park myself. Pitch black, soaked to the skin. Dodged that big puddle in Springfield Road at the Iron Brew Factory again, and I thought, I bet you Ross Desmond's never walked up this way and get his feet wet. So, aye, I had the privilege of being there, yep, I did, aye. That seems a was a week, that's it. You know, my time we watched the Celtic, that was some week, between Hearts to Roma, to yesterday.
The Roma game I'm not too bothered about, to be honest. For me, it was a bit of a dead rubber. But the performance, I thought the performance could have been better. But I wasn't see whether it was even if it was Ange or Brendan Rodgers or Martin O'Neill. I wouldn't really have fancied their chances to get in off Roma. I really wouldn't.
See, before they go any further, just 100%. Congratulations to the buddies for yesterday. They were worth their win every day of the week and twice to Sunday.
Here, well said.
But man, we did we no half set up to tactically and just to play right into their bar, but I thought so. I watched the game again the night there, just the highlights here again tonight because I was coming on. And St Mirren, usual, well organised, physical. Game plan was excellent. Congratulations, they were due that. And the one thing before we slaughter them, the one thing the Celtic players are due a wee bit of a compliment for before we go in is standing and clapping the St Mirren players get up. Fair play. Sean Fallon used to say I think maybe one time we might even had a bonus for that. He would talk about the manner in which he accepts defeat. So fair play. I don't know if you remember, maybe it was St Mirren a few years ago. It was one of the few teams to give us a guard honour. Others.
Aye, that's right. Aye.
It's very easy to be those people when you're winning, but it's
absolutely
it looks a lot better when you lose and you're able to stand there and.
Terence, we'll get on to here, right? I don't have a problem losing the cup. No. I don't even have a problem losing the league. Lost the league. My problem's sitting in these seats and absent in Ireland and sent his boy out to read his letter out. That's where my problem is, That's and I seen you slaughtering them yesterday as well. You're calling. I was with you 100% yesterday, Terence.
Yeah.
And before we go on and talk about the manager, you'll talk about the players. We can talk about Tisdale. We can talk about Peter Law. It's all of the above, but the issue that needs sorted is the hardest issue to sort. But I tell you, in fact, you're past the crossroads. See, this has been in the post. Yeah, go away back to the podcast when we were doing the Eddie Howe bit. We get lucky with Angie. Go to jail. I know to jail card with Postecoglou. This has been in the post. Managed decline. You're heading here to. You're way back when the podcast I said you're heading here to 25,000 in the stadium in a top tier shirt, and that's where you are. And the worrying thing is I actually can't see a way out of this thing. I'm struggling to see a way out of it, Terence.
I agree with you, John. Even last week before the match, I was talking to Mark, and Mark was asking me. We were chatting about it, and I had a really bad feeling about it. Now, obviously, I wish it was the other way around, but you like in the space of a week or two, they've gone from a team that's won 7 out of 8 matches, won away in Europe in Feyenoord, we're getting results, to then coming into a guy who basically goes, it's not about winning or losing, it's about performance. And you're like, well, that's a lie. And then to say we started the game well until they scored a goal. They scored a goal after maybe 5 seconds, like.
Listen, the whole Nancy thing's mental. It's mental. You ended up that game with 5 players out of position. You're playing free at the back. You're 1-on-1 at the back. Robinson must have been pissing himself. It's no doubt about it. It's serious questions over Nancy. No doubt about it. But go and change Nancy tonight. You go and change Nancy. It's changing nothing. You replace Chansey. You can put Pep Guardiola in there. It's not going to change. It doesn't matter. You can go and get Knutson or whoever you're going to get. No your problem. So he's the easy target here. All of the above. He's even disappointed at some of the abuse that Celtic fans give him online about his tactical board and stuff. See if you've got something to say, come on to one of our own podcasts like this and discuss it. Kick the ball about among ourselves. I don't get this going onto Radio Clyde and there's enough folk in Scotland want to throw muck at Celtic and Nancy without us joining in public. Come on here and do it among ourselves. So he's the easy target for me. But I tell you, The only fight I ever had at Parkhead was a guy criticising Peter Grant. He said, Peter Grant didn't pick his cell, eh? Nancy didn't. Nancy didn't. He didn't appoint his cell, and he didn't dictate the time in his appointment, which was madness. And I'm just watching the man on. He's on the TV here now. Martin Airley said he was willing to stay to the January or even at the end of the season. So somebody can explain to me why somebody thought the time in there before when we were playing the league leaders, possibly one of the better teams in the Europa League, and then a cup final. Why handing that baton to Nancy at that point was a good idea. And 99 times out of 100, you're following a manager that's a failure, eh? He's in the unique position there. He's up against the three biggest games you've got, and he's replaced a manager that's turned around a squad for what was happening under Rodgers and had Gigi, what was it, 7 out of 8 victories? So, man, oh man, they didn't half hang him out to fucking dry, Nancy, before he even kicks the ball here, eh? So, serious question marks. How did he get there? Whose appointment is he?
As I said at the time, John, there was going to be, see for Brexit, anybody coming into work in the UK, you'll know this as well, John, you know what I mean? Anybody coming into work in the UK, they're treated as if they were, I don't mean this to sound a racist when I'm talking about geographical, like, they're treated like they were coming in from Africa. Made like when we signed Wanyama, we had to jump through hoops to get my work permit and all this. Well, for Brexit, everything's the same. Even though Nancy was French, she still had all this. It was meant to be work permits and all this stuff that was holding the deal up. But surely Celtic should be aware of this. If you get what I mean, Celtic should have known how long is it going to take us to get all this paperwork for him and whoever he's want to bring. One the other one's Irish into, but even if that was the timing, I mean, I think if they were, I think the Celtic board would actually think Martin O'Neill would be in charge for a couple of games, and then everything would fall into place with Nancy, and they'd come in and blah blah blah. But when it was coming up to that week, it was, for me, it's an absolute crazy decision to pitch a guy in 2 days before probably the biggest game in the league this season so far against the team we're fighting for a league title against. As I said, the Roma game, I'm not really that fussed about the Roma game. Even if I said after we didn't qualify for the Champions League, I wasn't really that fussed for the Europa League. I want that treble, but there, I mean, that we're our third manager and we've lost the first trophy of the season. It just doesn't. It's like, and Nancy, I didn't want him appointed, right, and I'm not got. Didn't point to sit and slagging the guy off or anything. I just didn't think, as I said, I didn't think he was the manager, and I didn't think he's a man to take Celtic forward.
He didn't have the qualifications, Mark, to me.
Even as a man terms, it's like Ange came in, and you saw Ange for his very first press conference that this guy, he wasn't going to suffer fools. Do you know what I mean?
Ange had a presence about him, like.
He had a presence. Brendan Rodgers had an aura and a presence because his reputation for doing in the pub league stuff like that. And I mean, you know how I feel about Ronnie Dyler, but for me, it's been a bit of a feeling like a kind of Ronnie Dyler appointment. Do you know what I mean? Where was Nicholson and Lowell for his first press conference? They were sitting there with Ange, they were sitting there with Brendan Rodgers or Smiles. They just flung that wee French guy under the bus himself.
Where's the cake? I think you might find your answer at the time in the compensation that apparently changed dramatically after the 1st of December. It's as I say to you, we could sit here and talk about Nancy all the time. All we're doing here is wiping our nose. You're not asking why we keep getting the call. Whose appointment is he? See, you know, we know for a fact nothing happens at Celtic Park. Nothing. Unless the mustachioed one rubber stamps it. So he's either, we talk about God's two wills, he's ordaining will and he's permitting will. Either Dermot Desmond has ordained it, and it's his man, or he's permitted it, and for whatever bizarre reason, setting you up for failure. Who knows, to come in and come to the rescue? Goodness knows, you wouldn't know what was going on in there. But to home in on the players, home in on Nancy, absolute problems are so much bigger than that. They've been bigger than that. This has been in the post for a while. It's
But the only thing I would say, though, John, and I fully agree. This disappointment goes the whole way up the top through the likes of Tisdale and further up to him and through the board, and everyone is 100%. Everyone is answerable because it's just not good enough. To me, they appointed a manager that was like the equivalent of it, like the yellow pack, if you want to call it. Who's the bottom of the barrel here? Who's the guy that we think we won't cost us the most to have to get in and all the rest of it? But in saying that, they brought a manager in to a team or a squad that had been getting results. Okay, it might have been the most unbelievable football, but they were getting results. They were playing decent in some games. To all of a sudden, players look like yesterday to me that in certain stages they basically just said, nah, I've had it. They've down tools. I watched Scales run back for the third goal, and that's not the way Scales, for me, or even Engels kind of stopped. Scales would have normally chased back. They just look like fellas that I don't know. The change in a week is staggering to believe. The way O'Neill came in and he got them believing in themselves and believing, like he always seems to have great man management skills. The Nancy coming in, and it's like, to me, he's like, as I said to Mark, he's like our equivalent to Clement and Pedro Kishina, whatever his name is, and Russell Martin, all roll into one. Because some of the stuff he comes out with makes no sense. The way he tries to play makes no sense.
But to be fair to him, Clement had won the league, was it Holland or Belgium or something like that? He'd won the league.
Well, I just mean, Mark. He's not into do it with his results. I know he won the League Cup with Rangers, well, but he's just the way his mannerisms are, and the way he comes across with stuff, and the way he says stuff, and you think that just makes no sense, sense whatsoever.
Scales is running back. I mean, the team at the end of who we finished up as well, it's just nuts. It's just mental. Scales is on the left hand side of a back three, but he's where we all know his weaknesses as well, and he gets protected if he's got a left back playing beside him. You can actually see him. He's not even in. He's expecting a left back to be there. He's out of position for that goal. But
sure, Luke McCowan. Luke McCowan was the wing back at that stage, and then James Forrest in the middle, and you're there going like, what?
Absolutely mental. I'm not defending Nancy what one bit. You know what I'm saying? He's an easy target, and the boys that are sitting in the south seat there.
I'm sorry for him.
So they are. They will hang him out to dry, and the people that have fucked up will be allowed to pull the trigger on him. And I just hope the Celtic fans just stand back here and say, you go right. So who you going to put in that dugout? See, as long as you've got Peter Law, Michael Nicholson, Mackay, Dermot Desmond, fucking calling the shots,
Throw Tisdale in that.
I was going to say, Mark, as well, throw Tisdale in there. He hasn't the Scooby-Doo what's going on.
Throw Tisdale in the middle and we'll burn the fucking lot.
If I've only got one bullet in it, it's no fucking. It's no Nancy that's getting it. Tisdale's getting that for fucking Nancy, because that would have given him another £5 in the January transfer window. So easy to jump on, and I mean the whole the setup was nuts. But he didn't put Peter Grant back to Peter Grant again. Absolutely, he's a shit deflector. That's exactly right. He's that's it's dead easy here to jump on the Nancy bandwagon. Nancy didn't appoint himself. Who did? So unless you drill Peter Law, your ballless CEO, your man that says it doesn't matter if he's the man that says it doesn't matter if if there's 10,000 other people in the room with him, he'll do it his way. Unless you deal with that, or he's kind of a boy that he sends out to read out his letter. Unless you deal with that, you're going nowhere. It doesn't matter who you're putting in that dugout. I'm past the angry stage. You're almost. Maybe no. I actually thought I passed and I had moved into.
I wouldn't go that far, John. We're not there yet, mate. We'll get you there.
I'm just doing. Nancy didn't appoint himself.
No, he didn't, John. But at the same time, and it's a very fair point, all the powers to be above him are massively to blame for the appointment. But at the same time, if he's put in there to do the job, he's not doing the job. He's not doing the job, and he's like, unfortunately, the way the football works is, in a lot of cases, like you said, the powers to be above them seem to get away scot-free. It's normally the manager that gets the chop, or gets the grief, or gets whatever. But the worst thing that happened to him was he came in after O'Neill had such a great run. He'd have been better off if he was available straight after Rodgers.
Terence, you've asked your cat to decorate your house, and now you're blaming the cat.
No, but you can't say that it isn't Nancy isn't to blame for some of this as well. Look, the powers to be above him appointed him. He should never have appointed him. 100%. No question about it. Tisdale and all these people should never have appointed him. He's not qualified enough to do the job. But my point is, if he's coming to do the job and he's got the team performing the way they performed, and he's made the changes and he's done all the stuff, there has to be an element to blame there as well, John. On his behalf, there has to be an element to blame in him. The powers to be above 100% are to blame for appointing him. But at the end of the day, they appointed him, crazy appointment. But if he's there and he's got the same players that O'Neill won 7 out of 8 games with, even games in Europe away, and all of a sudden they turn around and he's putting in performance like they're putting in. The Roma one, fair enough, I agree, Mark. I don't think they were going to beat Roma even in the best of days. But they lost comfortably to Hearts, and they lost very comfortably to St Mirren. And Roma destroyed them with no performance. But the manager has to be accountable to some extent, for me.
100% agreement. The guy's in the ring fella, mate. There's no doubt about it. He's in the ring fella, mate. He's
at his depth. I know what you're saying, John, but also I get what you're saying, Terence. It's even getting back to the Kairat defeat. For me, that's on Rodgers and the players. No matter, the board should have spent money in the summer. At a Kairat level, Celtic's team and manager should be capable of beating them. Nancy, I never wanted him appointed. And even what I was trying to say to people on the forum was, I'm not wanting the guy to fail. Do you know what I mean? I get messages, you'll be happy with that today. How would I be happy with Celtic getting beat ever? Just because I didn't want the guy appointed doesn't mean I want him to fail. Do you know what I mean? He's still the Celtic manager. But it's like, you get out it, give him a chance. Well, give him a chance. We get beat with Hearts, the most important game of the league so far, in my opinion, this year. We get beat with them last Saturday, give him a chance, putting it on the board. But what I'm saying as well, so the board's bad for no batting Brendan Rodgers and we went out of the Champions League. The board's bad. But I mean, people were moaning when we appointed Martin O'Neill. Celtic fans were moaning about that. So that was, the board were bad for that. They were bad for dragging their heels, no doing this. But then all of a sudden, they've appointed this MLS coach, and that's it, we've got to back him. Well, that's the same board. You can't pick and choose what you're backing the board with.
You've lost, for the first time in your history, as far as I'm aware, you've lost 2 back-to-back cup finals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we've ever lost one to
the baddies,
them formerly known as Rangers, but I'm not sure about that one. I can't answer that one, but I certainly can't mind us losing 2 back-to-back cup finals. So you've lost a cup final. You've lost a cup final under 2 cup finals under 2 different managers. You know, so you need. I mean, but I'm with Bobby as well. Do I think Nancy should be the Celtic manager? No. In terms of risk management, from a business perspective, who decided that it was that he was worth a punt, and who decided the timing? To me, is just absolutely fucking.
Where did they come from? Where did they? I mean, honestly, right? See when Rodgers left, right? It was in. Bobby will know this, right? Be Daft Henke on the Discord. Just 2 days or something after Rodgers left, Daft Henke was on the Discord saying, it's this Wilfried Nancy getting the job, and we ripped the piss out the guy for. Do you know what I mean? And he kept sticking by it. And I mentioned on here, and I mentioned it on the forum, I said, the guy's that adamant about it, there must be something in it. But Do you know what I mean? And then obviously it happened. But where did they come from?
But is the link with Tisdale not a big issue, Mark? Is the so-called connection that he had with Tisdale?
No,
is
but
that
it's not him. It's not him. It's his assistant, the Irish boy.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry.
Him. He worked with him at Exeter, and his son that's a captain of Leeds. Is he the captain of Leeds? That's his son, and Tisdale gave him his big break doing it.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, apologies.
Aye. That's it.
But it makes no sense then, Mark. It makes no sense.
I know, I think it's James White saying there, you know, every manager you've had the last few years have had a 1 year rolling contract. They've given Nancy a 2.5 year contract. The only reason I can think he must have been cheap and cheerful, eh?
Oh, he was 100 and he's a yellow pack.
Well, you couldn't give him a year's long contract, John.
What is
contracts need to end like at the end of May or the end of June. So it would need to be like an 18-month contract.
Why 2.5 years?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would need to have been either 18 months or 2.5 years. You couldn't have gave him. Celtic couldn't have gave him a contract for 2 years or a year because under UEFA and FIFA regulations, for like the way your football transfer windows work, contracts need to end at the end of the season.
Anyway, I'm sticking to my guns with this one. We can kick fucking Nancy about here. We can kick this about all day, and I've already said, I think he's a man for the job. No, I don't. But I think 3 games is too quick to sack him. The guys on the board here sitting there for fucking 20 years, and we'll get to pull the trigger. It's and you can go put Pep Guardiola in that dugout, and it's changing nothing, because your recruitment is such through Tisdale that you've not got the right players on the park. Your captain, there was no tears off your captain at the end of the game this time. But I tell you one thing, go and watch it again. He's got anger in his eyes. Now whether that's the lad, he's been begging for resources, the same as irrespective of what you think. And you know what I think of Rodgers. He was begging for reinforcements for the last the last 2 years. Go and look at Tisdale's last. Go and look at this. Is your biggest question here? No, Nancy. See, Nancy. I couldn't care he stays here for another 2.5 years. That doesn't bother me. I'm more worried about the guys in the soft seats. How do we plug them? And how do we dress the arrogant bastard that sends he's fucking spoilt brat a boy to tell us that he'll not be bullied by a section of support that have contributed in anti-society, and their only vacation in life is to be fucking anti-establishment. You know that I was talking to an Irish boy comes out for Limerick to watch the game. He was fucking mortified at that. A fellow Irishman.
Look at wee Jeanette Finlay. She's one of the emeritus, they call it, the people that are like well high up at Jeanette Finlay's get that kind of status and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Dermot Desmond's talking doing his. I mean, and I'm like, people think that honestly, see like this, like the collective people, and it's part of their plan. They're mixing it up. The board and that they're trying to, it's the Green Brigade. Blame them, put it on them. It's no. And see the thing, I know, John. I mean, I send you all this stuff. Terence gets it as well. There's a lot of intelligent people behind the scenes of this Celtic fans collective stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's not just a wee rebel or rousily stupid wee boys that are pissed off because they've been barred out the gun for a few weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's bigger than that, and fans need to kind of realise that.
See, you know, the one who looks at Crowley's, I can't get by. I've not recovered for the AGM. I've not recovered for Peter Law telling me to behave, and I've not recovered then for his boy reading. He'd have been saying, wind your fucking neck in, And that's my laddie. See, if I'd have given you that letter and I said to you, go and read that out in East End of Glasgow. I said, what would you say to me? I said, fuck off, Dad. If you get something to say in East End of Glasgow, go and you say it. A 36-year-old fucking billionaire's boy calling me out for being anti-establishment. So I
say to you, John, I'd have told my mum. Mum, look what he's trying to get me to go earlier and day the most. Do you know what I mean?
See your problem? Your man told you, his boy told you, and get your head around this. Let this fucking sink in. He said to you that we can't afford to swing and miss And this is as good as it gets. So see the way it's here. See where you're sitting just now in terms of your setup as a football club. This is as good as it gets according to Ross Desmond, and that'll be echoing the sentiments he's da. This is so. Don't ask for any better because it can't be any better. You're not going to sort it through the two. Don't. You need to start thinking here. How does either the collector? Because put the fat aside. Put spending 12.5 million on Ballock to wish it and 2 neckties. Put that to the side.
Spending 2.5 million tax man, John.
Put that to the spend. You've given 25 million to HMRC. Put to the side. You spent north of 15.5 million in centre halves, and Scales is still the best you've got. And I'm a Scales fan, and it's put all that to the side. Would you give this guy? Put the fact aside, they have failed the shareholders. So for me, we need to find a way of mobilising the other major shareholders to ask the question: why does a major shareholder who's not even a majority shareholder, never mind the fucking owners, appear to have de facto control? And my second meeting would be with Adidas. And I would say, what are you getting Celtic? Because we're buying fuck all, and you're giving them money for nothing because we're not going to buy it. And I don't even know how you would do it. There's no way of doing it with season tickets. I seen a great line. I actually wrote it down. There's a great line, and I'm one of them. And it says, it's a time for every Celtic season ticket holder to ask yourself the question: is their seat or Celtic more important? And in fact, it was one of the comments that was made back to that Phil McGlobin article you sent me, Mark. And that guy says every Celtic support, every season ticket, you ask yourself, is your seat or is Celtic more important? Because that's the only thing that would happen. And I can't think of a way of doing it. I've been racking my brains trying to think, is there a way you could do it where? Because I'll tell you something else. This is even, see that business point of view. You know, they think, there's a waiting list, is there, aye? Many zone and many times have you heard me saying that for a business strategy, you're in danger of losing a generation here. I've got a 32-year-old laddie whose first season was Larson's Celtic daft. He owns nothing but Celtic taps. He's we used to have a washing line out there with every single Celtic tap that Celtic ever had, and you could add in I think it was only one was in tap. It was an Argentina tap, and tell me I'm gaining fuck all else, and I'm thinking of gaining up my season ticket. I'm no far away from it myself. I've been gaining nothing. I'll certainly not be buying any. I'll not be giving Santa Claus any money for merchandise this Christmas. As much as I've had 2 new wee grand Wednesday, I would love to go and get them something. No doing it. No, I've not even bought a fucking pie. Or a coffee again. But see when a laddie who's bleeds green and white saying to you, I'm not getting the fucking Desmonds another £1,000, And I was talking to a laddie at Chapel and Sunday as well. He said his laddie at 18 had said the same. He says, I'm not going to buy. So you're in danger to lose. This younger generation with the EPL, they've not got the emotional connection to Celtic that we've got with, you know, the Peter Grants and even a wee back to the lines and McNeil and Jinky and Sean Fallon.
Let's face it, John. If you're a young boy,
you've seen no Celtic winning.
If you're 25, John, all you've done. For the odd year you saw the Rangers winning a treble, blah blah blah. But if you're 25, you've had a crack life as a Celtic supporter. Do you know what I mean? You've watched him dying. You've watched us racking up treble after treble day. Do you know what I mean? But we never kicked on for it. We never kicked on to be the club that we should have been.
But is it? You know, the strategy is the limit of ambition.
There isn't a strategy, John. There doesn't seem to be any strategy. It just seems to be. It just seems to be the strategy. Just seems to be we take one day at a time and 1 week at a time, and there doesn't seem to be any business plan there whatsoever.
See anybody? See all the folk that's been on the forum and on other podcasts, you know, they saying trust the process, keep the faith. Fucking, I hope you enjoy.
There is no process.
Absolutely.
That from my side, there seems to be no process, there seems to be no structure, there seems to be no business model, there seems to be no, this is the way it's operated, this is the way we run, this is the way we do transfers, this is the way we run a football club, this is the way we run a football team. It just seems to be beyond amateurish. It really does. It's just, it's laughable.
The way seems to change seasons week by week. It sometimes even turn even season by season.
It does, yeah. It's literally, Mark. It's literally week by week. You could get anything. You could get anything, and it's like it's none. There's no professionalism there whatsoever from top to bottom. There's none. It's just. They might have, it's Celtic Football Club, it might be known, world renowned and all this, but it's run like a normal amateur football team for me. There's nothing there. Like, it's literally, decisions for me seem like they're not made for the best interest of Celtic. They're made for the best interest of individuals. And the football club at times, the football team seems to be the one that suffers the most. Obviously, the fans suffer massively because they have to go and watch their beloved club, like, you know, week in, week out. I have a good friend of mine who travelled over for the Roma game. He's a season ticket holder here in Limerick. He travelled over for the Roma game. He left at half time, and he had to get up the following morning, got a plane back into Limerick, and raced into work. You know, and this is what, and I'm sure there's hundreds of people in the same boat.
See, the guy comes to watch a game. He comes from Limerick, so he drives from Limerick to Dublin, flies to Glasgow, stays overnight in Glasgow. The night before, stays over in Glasgow. I think he maybe stays 2. So he's a grand down. Down.
Maybe it's the same guy.
Go see a game of.
Maybe it's the same guy.
Well, Limerick's a big place.
Not that big.
He's no Declan, is he?
No.
But I mean, I do a bit of work for a company that's been taken over, and I take it down to London for a strategy day. And then the presentation is, what's the purpose? What do we exist for? What's the purpose here? What's the vision? What's the vision? Where are we trying to get to? Whether that's, I've seen it many times. You had to say it, Mark. Whether that's to qualify for the last 16. What's the vision? What's our purpose for a football club? We need to operate as a business. We've got a social conscience as well. What is Celtic all about? What's the vision? Where are we trying to get to? What's the strategy? How are we going to? What's the business plan for trying to get there? Are we going to buy 4 oven-ready players next year? 2 projects? Club signing, as your man called them. What's the strategy? Who's
there is no
responsible for the various aspects of that strategy? How are we going to measure success and failure? What does success look like, and what does failure look like? So fucking Peter Lowell and your CEO voted down the motion to have a 5-year plan. I mean, you really need that stuff. Do you really want to give these fuckers any? Do I really want to go and give them? Do I really want to go and give them another fucking £1,000 this year again? I mean, they're pissing my leg and telling me it's raining.
They just take the fans for granted. That's the problem. They just take them for granted.
I don't think that's as limitless. See that quotation that I read it to you. It said every Celtic season ticket needs to hold themselves. Is their seat or Celtic more important? He says fucking Dermot Desmond's betting on the first one being the answer. I don't know where we go from here, but I tell you one thing: it's not going to change anytime soon. And but this has been in the post. It's if anybody say they trust the process, keep the faith. Fucking what process,
But John, that is it. There's no process. Every time a manager leaves before a part. No other club of your size does that. We've been out 100 times. Actually, I bore myself talking about it at times, honestly, lads.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? The actual structure of the club, right there, Bruges, right? A guy that, right, that Huygen or whatever it is you can pronounce it, right? And as I've said, the same as Nutson, right? Aye, we could go and get them, but Bruges and Bodo Glimt and these teams, they're built, they're cogs of a bigger thing. We've not got that bigger thing. Everything relies on their manager. It seems to be, if you get what I mean. I mean, they're Bruges. They sacked that boy, right? Fair dues. They got a bit of a doing off Arsenal the other night in Europe in the Champions League, right? They were away and won, I think it was 4 or 5-1 yesterday under their new manager. Whereas Celtic, I mean, do you think that this new manager coming into Bruges, they've been like, all right, see these 2 signings we had lined up for January, we're not getting them now. That's nothing that Bruges is going to change because a new manager's come into them the other day. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else ticks along nice and smoothly. They'll keep doing what they want and they'll keep bringing in their young players. I mean, the boy that left, he played a Champions League game. He played and he had 3 defenders at 19-year-old. He did nothing. I don't think he did anything at all today with him as he came into the first team. I mean, he's not saying, oh, when they were like 13, or go and sign him. Do you get what I mean? That's what Celtic are. I keep getting back to it. The B team. I mean, when Ange was here, the B team and the kids are all playing the way Ange wants to play. They're learning that. So who the fuck were they playing now? What system are they working to now? Because as I keep getting back, there's no, as we call it, playing football with Glasgow Celtic way. There's nothing, we've not got that anymore. We don't know what that means. It's no proof it, there's no meaning to that anymore. It's like the Celtic Park atmosphere. It's a myth. It's a pure myth.
A lot of those clubs you mentioned as well, Mark, and the big clubs, a lot of them, it's nearly like they bring in a guy to coach or manage, if you want to call it whatever, but a lot of them are like their head coach, because they've basically got people to go, here's the squad of players. Okay, they have a say if they've got 1 or 2 players, but generally, like you said,
they're allowed to tweak the team the way they want, but the basic system stays the same terms for the next guy taking her.
It does, and the majority of the players coming in as well, Mark. Do you know, whereas Celtic, it seems to be, this guy leaves, right, we rip it up, throw it out, next guy's in, what way do you want to do it? Oh, you do it your way and we'll do this and we'll do that. And then he buggers off, and then the next guy comes in and goes, well, I play this way and I do that way. Yeah, it's all, those things are all fine, but it's like Celtic nearly get their hand and they just sweep across the table and everything's thrown offside. Mm-hmm. And then we just, okay, let's start all over again. And it's no wonder that Celtic get pumped more times than not in Europe. And it's no wonder that, like, there's no, as you said here loads of times, and John has gone on about it loads of times as we have, there's no structure, there's no system, there's no nothing place. And I remember you said it a good few times, Mark, that you always have gone on about this director of football, that if Postecoglou left tomorrow, when he was leaving or whatever, the way he left, it was sudden, that everything that was already in place was there. The manager goes, a new guy comes in. This is the way we play ball. They can tweak it slightly to their own way that they like, but generally there's a style and there's a system there that Celtic play. You go to the likes of Barcelona for years, back to when Cruyff was there and all that, they pretty much play the same way, like. They haven't changed it, and their teams down through the exact same way. It's modelled the whole way up.
Just modernised it as a team in own terms.
Yeah.
Ajax,
prime example.
100%, Terence, absolutely. That structure should be in place, these systems and processes, who comes and goes, should be immaterial in terms of how Celtic play football and what is the Celtic way. But you're dealing with a club here, you're dealing with a laddie that sat and told you at the AGM that we've had 18 years out of the last 19 years of success in Europe because we've participated in the Challenge League, that he can't afford to swing and miss, that he's had success. So this is as good as it gets. Don't ask for any more. Fucking sit down and give another £800.
Well, listen, I agree with you.
That's what you're dealing with.
Listen, John, I agree with you fully. And like, these are people that are going on about the league and all this. They used to say it's a 2-horse race. It used to be a 2-horse race, but one of the horses got put down. Like, it was literally a 1-horse race. Like, for I don't know how long. And Celtic would win the league consistently. And then the amount of times that they couldn't get over simple hurdles to qualify in Champions League, which are like Ferencváros, Cluj, Malmo, you know, really based with the greatest respect to the teams that if Celtic are supposed to be able to get to the Champions League should be beaten. But they come to them, they fail continuously, like, and that's massively down to the whole system that they have in place there, or there is no system in place. That's the problem.
See, with the 3 runs we had, Terence, for the leagues and that,
Yeah.
we should be sitting with 200. Well, we shouldn't be. We should have been spending it. But you get what I mean. We should be sitting with £200 million in the bank.
Money shouldn't be an object now, Mark, at this stage.
Super duper's bang on. It's corporate negligence, and it's for me the only way I can see to try to. I don't even know how you would do it. It's somehow to, if we can mobilise, as I said, put the football aside. They've failed they've failed shareholders, and they need to be called to account by they've failed the PSA, the PLC, and they need to be called to account by the other major shareholders. That would be my first meeting. My second meeting would be Adidas. Now, see, I don't know how much they're getting these bastards, but we're buying fuck all. That would be my second meeting. These guys only learn these. Your Dermot Desmonds of this world, they only understand one language.
Get him in the pocket.
Absolutely, yeah.
But,
as I said,
but John, you're not hitting them in the pocket, really, are you?
No, unless you can no give them the season tickets, and that's. Aye, I suppose if I don't know what Adidas gave them, but if you're meeting with Adidas and saying, listen, we're giving these guys nothing, so why are you giving them $6 million? You can hang back for it.
But John, again, no, but that's you hurting the club. You're not hurting them. You're not hurting them personally. But that's what I'm talking about. You're not actually affecting Dermot Desmond's.
Oh, you'll never. Listen,
I've
been in companies where I've had to see the guys. I've said these. I've seen the guy in the that owns the company. If you want this company to move forward and go to the next level, you need to get the fuck out the road, because you can't take it any further, And, right, and they say, no, fuck off. I'll just sit here at the level of it, and I'll take my 800,000 a year. Thank you. You're plugged. So the fucking Michael Nicholson's. If these guys had any fucking decency about them, they would fucking listen to the St Mirren supporters singing "Keep the board, keep the fucking board," the same as a Heart song, and they would fucking resign, But he's going nowhere because he'll never earn. That ballless bastard will never earn £800,000 anywhere in his life. He's open neck shut fucking cuddle for Nancy when he lands. Pick me up my fucking dinner. You know, Nancy's never even been unveiled as a Celtic fucking manager.
Aye, I brought that up a few times, John, even in messages and that.
Don't let these cunts hang him out to dry. Mad as he fucking sounds, and as bizarre as his team sets up. And
I think it's too late for that, John.
His team would be something to watch.
It's TikTok time. For me, honestly, I think it's just a matter of time before Nancy's out the door. I think for just the 3 results of the week, the performances, the bad. It's just
can you lads genuinely see Celtic winning on? Isn't it Wednesday night they're playing? So Wednesday night against Dundee United.
Aye, Dundee United. Aye.
Yeah. Can you see them winning?
Well, Jonas says they'll probably win 3-0. But I was like, don't think so this time, mate. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a problem. I mean, I'm not saying that if you gave Nancy time and blah 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 and helped him get players in, that it wouldn't be a success, right? But as and I've said it on the forum, I've said it to you on our WhatsApp groups and all that, right? It's like an Aberdeen or even a Dundee United type of appointment. It's a punt. Do you get what I mean? If it works, it could be great for them. But if it doesn't, they've not really lost anything. I mean, how many times have we seen Aberdeen, Dundee United, even Hearts over the years, and they've even brought in all these fancy guys with all their new methods. And I mean, that Ian Cathro guy, that. I mean, where are all these people now? And for me, that for me, Nancy was I mean, I will say it again. I hate saying it because a few of my mates have dug us up about it. Right, even Ronnie, right, was a bit of that kind of risk, right? But it's for me now, Nancy. It's borrowed time already. He's only been here a week, and for me, it's borrowed time, and I'm not blaming him for that. But it's just, I think the job is too. I think all along, I thought the job was going to be too big for him. But when we saw Ange, when we first heard the Ange, we were like, "Who's this? Who's this guy?" When we looked into him, we saw what he could do. We watched him speaking and all these kind of things and that. We thought, here, this guy's got something about him. A bit of a shaky start, but he was out there confident, sticking by it. We could relate to him, but we're talking about an odd his aura and his presence in that earlier tier.
Mm-hmm.
It was something we could kind of catch on to, and right, well, let's see how it goes. Oh, Francis, I'm not saying that. Ronnie Dyler, no, I mean that, but no, Ronnie, I love Ronnie. I'm not getting a pop at Ronnie, but it's got the same kind of vibes at the time. He was a punt owner, kind of maybe an unknown coach or whatever. I'm not slagging Ronnie by any means. Where was I there, Terence?
You were just basically comparing the managers.
They talk about the risk in that, but I mean, he's come in and he's no got that aura. He's got nothing. He's not coming in. He's got no checkable background that you can say, oh, he played at a high level. He done this. He done that. Do you know what I mean?
You could see something in Ange. You could see even Mark, even when they lost the Hearts in the first few games. You could see what they were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You could see that. I have no. It just looks like under Nancy at the minute that it's literally like, right, we're going to keep one or two defenders back and everyone charge forward and see what happens. It just looks like you see like an under 10s game where everyone runs after the ball and then it's lost and then the other team kick it forward and then all of a sudden you need to get back as quick as you can to try to defend it. Like, there doesn't seem to be any plan, any system, any structure. Like, it's like John said earlier, like by the end of it, it was literally like someone just got a handful of stuff and just fired it onto the paper and goes, okay, you go there, you go there. It reminded me of when Tony Mowbray got sent off in the last game against St. Mirren when he was manager, when they finished with something like 6 forwards or something like that, something mad like that. That's what it just reminds you of. There doesn't seem to be, and to me, the players don't look like they know what they're doing. They don't look like they know what they're meant to be doing. And it was funny even Evan Ferguson, even when he was asked about it, he said it looked like some of the players didn't know what to do. They didn't know where they were meant to go or where they were meant to be. Now, I don't know how accurate all that is, but like, as I said, without keeping over the same thing, this is a team and a squad that had gone on a very successful run with O'Neill, and all of a sudden they look like they couldn't string 2 passes together. Hitati the other day must have given the ball away 20 times.
When St Mirren scored their third goal, we've only got 2 players in our own half.
Yeah.
When the boys played, you've got Schmeichel, and you've got Trusty. He's about a yard inside your own half. Mental, absolute mental tactics.
And that's the type of goals we used to score because teams were pushing on to us.
Yep, but Big Ian goes off. When Big Ian goes off, the game's a bogey, innit?
Aye. I think it maybe have been different if Big Ian actually stayed on the park yesterday.
Absolutely. Schmeichel's flatting about today. His distribution against Roma was brutal. He was flatting about at that. Was that second goal, third goal, second goal?
Second goal, yeah.
He doesn't either. He neither stays nor comes. You get a mixture of two, and he's got a bit lippy in his old age too. His boat sailed, I think, too. When I love Ralston's for the same town as me, so see that fucking rattle up in the air, the one who skills passes about at the park, and then Ralston just goes up in the air. You're like, what the fuck's happening here?
Somebody said that was one like an American football tactic. So Nancy's brought that in. So I don't know if somebody knows better than me that sometime at American football you've just got to punt the ball at the park and chase it.
Mm.
The one thing I've actually quite liked, I said to you yesterday, I don't think football, at least under him, would be be boring, as I said, if I've only had one bullet, it wouldn't be him at the beginning,
No, it's just John, as I said earlier, I mean, I feel sorry for him. I don't even see. I mean, right? Even I've been laughing at his press conferences and all that, but see, like that, it's a bit. I can't. I just thought this is just going to eat him up. This is just too big for him. He's never. I mean, they're playing Roma. He's never played in a UEFA competition. He's never managed a team in a UEFA competition or anything.
I don't think he's managed out of the MLS, has he? I don't think he's ever managed anywhere else.
Well, Canada, if you want to count that. I don't know if that counts as real
No,
football.
not really.
See when we go 1-0 down even in 2 minutes, you're thinking, any other time you be watching Celtic, you'd be thinking, you know what, long way to go, you're thinking, oh. See when we go 2-1 down, you're
That's
not
it.
coming back.
You know, it's dead and buried then. But it's nearly like Marcus John's obviously from the business side of things. The way it is at the minute, Celtic, it's like there was a junior administrator guy, and all of a sudden he's been told, right now you're the CEO. You're like, I ain't a clue what I'm doing up here, but I'll blag it, because that's what it looks like with Nancy. Like he has zero qualifications to be at this level to manage Celtic. And like, okay, yeah, we can argue that he's been thrown under the bus and all the rest of it, but look, he's been brought in by the people who should have never brought him in, who probably shouldn't be there in the first place. And Tisdale in particular, I don't know how he's still in the club. But the problem is the buck with football will largely stop with him and the players. And if he continues to lose and he doesn't get a result on Wednesday, and they're away then to Aberdeen, I think the weekend, they go there and they lose, like all of a sudden it could be unthinkable, but Rangers could be like catching them, or Rangers could even be ahead of them by the time they play the game in the new year. Like that's unthinkable.
I reckon the tribute act, I think they've got a decent coach this time, right? I think the only thing that's hindering them now is the recruitment's been possibly slightly worse than ours.
Jesus, that must be bad.
And they've plugged the two guys that were
Kevin Paddy.
The only thing I enjoy better than a Celtic podcast is a Rangers podcast, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Every time you went on to one, it was Kevin and Patrick need to go. I'm thinking, I wonder why fucking Kevin and Patrick need to go, eh? So Kevin and Patrick's been plugged, eh? So they sort out the recruitment and can go with that. I think they've got they've got a capable coach this time. They're not that far away from you. And anybody that's still defending the board.
No having that. No having that.
Anybody that's still defending the board, the Celtic board. Anybody that comes onto the forum and says trust the process, keep it face, you just say fuck off. That's the only answer you should get to that. Anybody think the Hearts is not a title contender needs to wake up and smell the coffee.
Well, I think Hearts, John, in the current position that Celtic are in, and if they keep it with this guy and everything goes to them, Hearts will win the league by 10 points at this current rate, because they will. Yeah, Mark, they will. I would think so, because the crowd across the city aren't much better than Celtic, and we are terrible. And like, can you see Celtic win a game at the minute?
Terence, I think out of your next 10 games, 7 of them is away from home. Is that right? So your next 3 is it? Who we go? We've got Livingston away, big fucking bullies as well. Is we away at home?
Aberdeen away on the weekend.
Aberdeen.
Dundee United on Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yeah, and then Aberdeen away.
Aberdeen's at home on Sunday too. I'm sure.
Is it? I thought it was away. All right.
That's at Parkhead.
Okay.
I'm heading over to your country on Friday, Terence.
Oh, very good.
Heading over to Derry.
Excellent. You enjoy the rain, so.
I'll be
Enjoy the rain.
I'll be staying in
wild out here in Orchard, to be fair.
Yeah, it's brutal over here.
I'll be staying. I'll be staying in Donegal, so yeah, it's definitely not as cold over there, but definitely wetter. We went to see Billy Connolly years ago, and he said he'd done a history of Scotland, and he says the Scots came for Ireland. They said they must have said to each other, "Come on, I not even fucking called their place." And it's definitely wetter there, Terence.
Oh so yeah.
I was Aberdeen game, but I think it'll be I think you'll have a more than half empty stadium, and just by the time that near Christmas it is on Sunday as well. Plus the performances.
It's just you just can't see Celtic winning the game at the minute. That's the biggest problem I have. I cannot, even against your run-of-the-mill teams in the SPL, I can't see Celtic winning a game. Like, no disrespect meant to St. Mirren, and like John, fair play to them. They totally deserved the victory. They were much better than Celtic on the day, and just no one can have any qualms about that. But when you're sitting here and we're saying that St. Mirren outplayed Celtic in a cup final and deserved to win it, and you're kind of, like it's same with the Hearts game. Hearts beat Celtic comfortable enough, like, and
that actually worries me more terms, because yesterday I thought Robinson had I thought he had his game plan, didn't he? I thought I watched it again, and I go watch it again. It's St. Mirren were absolutely fucking excellent, And
you mind that Doggage?
See Hearts last week.
Yeah.
Hearts were shite. Hearts were shite and still won 2-0 at Parkhead.
Yeah, they did, yeah. Yeah, but like even yesterday, that Gogic fella, I know Mark had mentioned, you had mentioned him, Mark, a few times in fellas.
For years, John, I liked him.
You were saying you could do a worse thing than sign him. But if you watch the way he played yesterday, he fires at everything. He had like his pass for the second goal was exquisite. But
somebody mentioned earlier on there about wee Strachan sitting with his laptop in there. You've got. I mean, I said to Mark last week, if I had been Nancy, I'd have been saying to Neil, any chance you can just sit there for another 3 months, or either in January or even potentially, and I'll just sit behind you and listen to what you say and what you do, and I'll look, listen, and learn. But who's Fotheringham? Was it Fotheringham? Was that the boy?
Yeah.
Fozzie. I think he made a contribution. Maloney obviously made a contribution.
But if you listen to what O'Neill said, John, by all accounts, O'Neill had a conversation with Nancy he apparently fobbed it off. Like, it was only 15 minutes of a conversation, apparently.
Absolutely. You know how long the handover was? 15 minutes.
Yeah, but apparently O'Neill was talking him through it, and apparently this is hearsay, so it means nothing really. Apparently the conversation came back that Nancy was like, look, no, I have my own way of doing this, I'm going to do this and this and this. And apparently it was kind of a case of like, thanks very much, good luck. No, I don't know how true it is. Like,
right, I don't know. He might be a total horse's arse, man. No, all I'm saying is he's an easy fucking target here, and replaceable's not going to solve your problem. That's who, I mean, but Strachan sitting there with his wee laptop. Who's telling Nancy that McCowan can play at left wing back? Who's telling them that?
Well, maybe he's telling himself that.
You've got two players that could possibly play at left wing back. Who is probably Tierney and Donovan. Yeah. It's you end up with Scales playing on the left side of a back three. So you're preaching the quiet here in terms of question marks or Nancy. For the Roma game, you've got Christie left footed on the right side of a back three. We end up yesterday with Alston in the right side of a back three. So mental fucking one player in your own half with 20 minutes to go. Nuts. I actually there's bits in there I've actually quite liked, some of the kind of chaos making spaces, but it's fucking absolutely.
But do you think it changes?
Any manager, any coach coming in halfway through a season, blah blah blah. Any manager or coach worth their salt, they're not going to come in and rip it up. Surely you'd have a bit of common sense about it and think.
You remember? I remember. So one thing I remember about Postecoglou saying, he said he wanted to avoid a couple of things. He said it was quite interesting. He said inferior players needed less information. Keep it simple. Keep instructions simple. And he wanted to. They were a long way away from playing the system he wanted to play, but he wanted to avoid information overload. that tells me that probably Nancy is neither as wise or as bright as Postecoglou was.
I think he's maybe, think maybe one of the reasons that Nancy and Tisdale going's like that kind of, I'm a football doctor, and he's like this kind of overthinking the pure intricacy of every single move in the park, kind of. Do you know what I mean? that kind of way.
What did Neil do? He simplified it, didn't he?
Aye.
Fucking simplified it, because Rodgers had confused the arse out of everybody today with that horseshoe of death. You look for another, so Neil comes in. One, he's got the charisma there, isn't he? To motivate players. He's a legend. He's a
great man manager.
Say again.
He's a great man manager. He was
fantastic.
For me, O'Neill was a brilliant man manager. He could get guys who you think are really down, the game's gone down, and all of a sudden, whatever he does, whether it's an arm around the shoulder or say kick up the arse, whatever it is, he had this ability to transform players. Like,
brilliant. Listen to his wee press conferences after listening to Rodgers' shite for a couple of years to hear O'Neill playing the daft 73-year-old. I should really be in a home now. You're thinking, aye, is that right? Aye. Just you're doing a great job here, man. Kidding on every day you're daft. Eh? He's I thought he was brilliant. It was a highlight of the season, wasn't it? It was having O'Neill there for that.
Oh, listen, it was like, as I said, it was what he done in the number of weeks he was there. It only just increased, if it possibly even could, his if you want to call it, excuse the pun, but iconic or legendary status within the club. Like, I mean, you know, he's come out when they were backs to the walls, and he's gone in, and as you said, John, he's gone in and he's gone, right, this is far too complicated to what you're doing. Let's do the basic things. Let's defend and let's move and pass the ball and do the basic things. I'm not going to ask you to do something I know you can't do. And that seems to be the mantra of the guy. And at the end of the day, he got results. Some of them, as I said, mightn't have been the most flamboyant or stylish, but he got results, and that's what O'Neill does. Like, he gets results. And I said, to win away in Europe, would any manager in the last good number of years have got a win like that against Feyenoord away? I doubt it.
Oh, no chance. No chance.
No, he's a very pragmatic manager, Mark. He understands the ability of the players that he's got in front of him, and he's able to, you know.
On you go, Terence. Sorry.
No, I'm just going to say he's a very pragmatic guy like that, and he knows the simple things. O'Neill would have always made sure to try and have. I know he can't generally hear, but the spine of the team very solid, and he's getting players to work for each other. Like, Engels was a much better player under O'Neill than he had been for most of the season. You know, and he just got them to play just proper normal football, sensible football, without anything crazy. And I said he wasn't asking players to do anything that he didn't feel they were capable of doing.
But as I was saying earlier on, right, when you talk about like even managers having aura, respect and stuff like that, right, we can go back to Neil Lennon when he took off from Mowbray, right?
Yeah.
He was one of the boys still. Do you get what I mean? Everybody knew Neil Lennon, everybody, do you get what I mean? All the players liked him, blah, blah, blah. And we move on. And then we get Ronnie, and then we get like the players that didn't buy into Ronnie's stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and things all went a bit awry. Some things went good, some things went bad, kind of thing, right? Then you've got Rodgers, as I said earlier, swaggered in straight out the pub league, big, do you know what I mean? All the fanfare, thousands of fans outside it. No player needed to ask who he was, do you know what I mean? They all knew who Brendan Rodgers was. Then Ange came in, and right away, the players, he's come in the way he is, he's demanded that respect and that kind of aura with him. And they've looked at him and they've trained him for a few days and they've saw what he's all about, and they've had to toe the line because he was that kind of authoritative figure with them. I mean, we heard how he was a bit distant in that for the players and all that kind of thing. And then, but that's what I'm saying, Terence. Nancy's come in here and it's like, who are you, mate? I mean, he's shouting Cal McGregor and he's talking to... Cal McGregor shouldn't need individual coaching during a game to be told what to do in a football park. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And even if he did, Mark, even if Nancy called Callum McGregor up.
Even when Martin O'Neill came back in there after Rodgers left, right? If there was any players there that didn't know who Martin O'Neill or Sean Maloney were, that'd be soon fun out. Do you get what I mean? Any foreigners? Who's this old guy? What do you mean? Who's this fucking old guy? This is Martin O'Neill. Read the history of the club where you're at, mate. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's back to he's getting respect. He's in there and he's doing his job and he's telling players what they need to. Do you know what I mean? That again, the authority. And Nancy's come in there. He's not any great career at playing. He's not any experience or any greatness. He'd been coaching and stuff like that, and it's just all sound bites of shite for like the MLS and stuff like that. And it's just again, for me, the players will just be sitting there like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy that's in here telling us to tell us what to be doing here?"
I agree to take it down too, Mark.
I don't understand that. Angie was lucky as he brought in the Japanese stuff. I think Celtic was lucky, eh? Celtic was lucky for our Tapi Angie, and he was able to bring new players, and I don't think anybody else could have done that at that time. And I tell you, see on that note, I tell you another thing, and with all my criticism of Rodgers, and he's not my favourite person, but see the first title he wins last year, when all the penalty goes against us at Hearts, and the referee, and he calls out the referee, and he gets called up before the SFE, and all the he was in their sights, eh? And he managed all that very, very well, eh?
Well, like that, John. Rodgers, the players that were there at the Celtic would all know who Rodgers was, and Rodgers would have been that manager that would have expected the respect from the players. He wouldn't have had to earn it. There would have been an expectation that.
Did you remember the bit when he called
Lee Griffiths there? I remember he called Lee Griffiths or something after a game or something like that. Griffiths was taken off and he had a right huff or something. And you remember that after the game a couple of years ago, he pulled Griffiths aside. You could see him having a word with Griffiths in the middle of the pitch quietly, obviously. Then they kind of had a hug and went off. That was basically going, listen, don't do that again. I'm the boss. And I'm sure there was a few other choice words with it. And I think, like Mark said, I think Postecoglou would have been the exact same to an extent, but I definitely think O'Neill would walk in and you would listen. I have to agree, Mark. I think they're already, the players will be already at a stage of going, are we listening to this clown now again? I know he's only there a couple of weeks, but I already feel that players have kind of lost faith in him. I know it's very early, but it comes across that way because just the team just, they look very disjointed.
Even when you met AJ, it all looked a bit staged in that, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just because obviously hence he's a Canadian marriage, you know, and that kind of stuff. And like the time he met James Forrest walking around, it was like James Forrest was looking at him as if he was a tourist walking around the gym. Like, you know, I don't know if you saw that video, but like, and your man goes, "Oh, this is James Forrest," and he goes, like, he shouldn't have to be told who he is. Like, he should know who he is. He should know. James Forrest should know that this is Nancy. And like, if obviously not sounds smart, but if Rodgers had walked in there or O'Neill had walked in there, Forrest would have known who he was and vice versa. Like,
you've got a mixture where you're playing yesterday.
Hold on, John. Yeah, Pedro email. I'll get that passed on to you, John, once we're finished up, right? But
Pedro, you send that to me. I'll drop you an email back, Pedro. Eh?
I don't know why everybody's names on YouTube all weird. No, but see, like on the YouTube chat, everybody's just, it's like their names are all kind of name and numbers and that, rather than just like their normal names that we usually see.
I've seen yesterday you're playing with easy. I'm sticking to my guns. Easy to pick. To slaughter and Nancy, and I'm not saying he's not to blame. It looks like total fucking madness to me. And I think I'd have wanted more than a 15-minute handover with a Neil Tay, but he's I just think he's an easy target. You're playing yesterday with a mixture of players that are past their sell-by date, no good enough, wanted away, free transfers after the deadline day, all of the above, and that Disney, the responsibility for that Disneyland land with Nancy, that lies with the guys that are the guys that are sitting in the half seats, and the guys that's pulling the strings. But for me, it's just how do you move forward? And I can't see a way of doing it. I can't see a way of doing it other than trying to do it from a business perspective. He's saying he's somehow calling them to account. How many Champions Leagues have they? I mean, gross. Somebody said there, corporate negligence to fail to strengthen for the Champions League this year. We should have won the game, but they still failed to strengthen it. You're out 2 cups to 1 year. It's £40 million in the drain. You've failed shareholders. Forget the flip side. Forget the flip side altogether. You failed. So somehow, how do we mobilise the other major shareholders to call the board to account to the PLC? And as I said, my second meeting would be Adidas. Would be to tell them that there's no point you giving them £6 million because we're buying them. How you? I can't give you. I don't know what you would do with season tickets, because I thought that's a great question for every season ticket holder. You need to ask yourself: is your seat? I ask myself that question too. So that question applies to me too. Does your seat or Celtic matter? What one's more important? And Dermot Desmond's banking on. I mean, these guys, I know. See, if Celtic are doing 25,000 a turnout for next week, and for here on in, that'll still cover their wages, because that's the first thing you come off. That's the first thing they'll cover is they're selling what's left of spending players to spend in the stadium, and that's not much, So they ain't going anywhere. They'll never leave us until they're shown the way. To quote a song,
getting rid of Dermot Desmond, for me, I mean, I've said this to you in private, I've said it on here as well. I think that's a bit of a pipe dream. I honestly do. I don't really see a way how Celtic support, without getting somebody to.
And this is the take over, Mark.
Aye, unless we can get somebody to come up and say, well, somebody coming up and saying, we'll find out the price and we'll try and get something sorted out, a la Fergus McCann type of figure.
Surely it can't be a pipe dream to ask the question, why a man who's got 34.3% of the shares appears to have de facto control. Surely that's not a pipe dream to question the level of authority that man appears to have.
Somebody said as well, further up in the chat, about how see the shares that get sold the other week and stuff like that. Is that maybe Desmond hoovering up more shares to give him more power and that? I mean, see the thing about it, right? And I mean, one of the only reasons I know this is because when the Huns get liquidated and that, right? But see if you buy 30% of a company, but you by law need to offer everybody, every other shareholder, some kind of going rate for every single. You need to try and buy 100% of these shares, whether the people want to sell them or no. And Dermot Desmond actually gets some kind of special disposition for the stock market that he didn't need to do this years ago. And that was a pure red flag for me, because I've looked that up. I don't know. It's a weird thing, because we've got that. There's a Linsell training people like that, which is investment companies, and fair dues, you look into them and they've got Celtic supporters running them, and one of them is there because they know that if Celtic, when it happens and Celtic get their own kind of media rights and TV rights, they'll go up into stratospheres, you know what I mean? When Celtic are actually make their own money out of broadcasting games and stuff, so they're in it for the long haul and stuff like that. But I mean, I just don't see how the way things stand now. Honestly, I can't see how we can force a change at the Dermot Desmond level. I think the best we can hope for is to try and force a change at the executive below them levels, like the CEO and stuff like that. Even the Neds, you know what I mean? Even the Neds, I mean, you look up companies and you read all that stuff, and most non-executive directors have got but you see us all the time, John, like you've got a 5-year plan. Most companies seem to have a 5-year plan, and that, do you get what I mean? And that seems to be the go-to. Do you know what I mean? This is where we aim to be in 5 years, and then in 5 years we look at that again and plan for the next 5 years. Some of these Neds have been in place for 20 years and stuff like that. They're meant to be holding the board to an account. That's where, see, rather than get Martin O'Neill as a director of football, I'd put Martin O'Neill on the board as a non-executive director. to have a football voice on that board and saying, "Oh wait, no, you can't. This isn't what you should be doing. This is, from the football point of view, this is what we should be doing. £12.5 million a year to the tax man. That's atrocious."
It's kind of jobs for the boys, though, Mark. You know what I mean? It's nearly one is the non-executive is nearly protecting the guys ahead above them and on the board, and the board are nearly protecting the non-executives. It's nearly like they're all in it together. Do you know what I mean? You're right in what you're saying. People are supposed to hold other people accountable, but they're obviously all in this job so long that it's such a cushy number that none of them are going to rock the boat, regardless of how many times it should have been rocked. If it's so much so, it's turned over about 20 times at this stage. But none of them want to do anything. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the problem. No non-executive is going to pull up and go, "Look, our transfer business has been shocking," or "We need to do this," and "We need to get onto the board and say we've got to do X, Y, and Z." As far as they're concerned, markets, they're happy as Larry. They're getting. All these guys are getting plenty of bobs out of it. They're not going to rock the boat as wrong as it is.
But see that terms. I mean, see when you look at like the salaries that these guys get in the accounts. I mean, fair dues, it's money I could never dream of earning, but I don't think it's that great money.
Mark, your fucking CEO's sitting there on 800 grand a year, right? He sits there. He lets Peter Lowell. He says nothing. He lets Peter Lowell tell us to behave. He lets her. Why he's even got a right to sit at the top table? He lets a major shareholders laddie sit and fucking castigate the Celtic support for being contributing to society and being anti-establishment. We will not be bullied. Fuck off.
Aye, John, you cut me off there. What I was going to say was, I don't think it's great money for the fucking grief and hassle that they're getting.
So why is he taking it then? Why does he not resign? Why when he hears the buddies singing, "The board must stay," does he not say, "You know what? Why does Peter Law say, you know what, I'm a divisive figure here. In terms of unity and moving forward here, I'd be better just." But the bottom line is, see, if we're down to 25,000 to a crowd next year, he's Celtic. I think you're long term. I think you're in danger of losing a generation, as I said. It's I don't think that the generation that's coming through is going to. I look at my grandkids now. They don't have the Tommy Burns, Peter Grant, Sean Fallon, Jimmy Johnson, Bob O'Neill. They don't. So they would happily sit in a stadium with a top tier covered as long as they're fucking because I tell you one thing, Celtic will be there longer than fucking Peter Law's going to live. Aye, and fucking,
but John, that's what I'm getting at. What I can't. I'm trying to put myself in there, thinking right for the money, right? Fair dues, they're getting a decent chunk of money, right? But Joe, as I've said this before, right? Everybody's joked about a statue for Peter Lowell and stuff like that, right? But see if you were that, would you know that fucking every Celtic fan when you were walking up Celtic was like, "Peter, fucking love you, mate." Joe, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Put your right, and no matter how successful Celtic are, they're maybe getting a couple of extra grand a year. If they're not successful, it's a couple of less grand a year. It's no that big a deal. So what the fuck is in their mindset?
It's ego, Mark. It's ego.
But the ego, but terms, see the ego, right? See if I was running Celtic, right, and fair dues, I'm maybe not the brightest bulb in the box. I'd want people tell me here, "Mark, fucking love you, mate. We're building a statue."
They don't care, though, Mark.
You know what?
They don't care about whether you like them or don't like them. They don't care. Their notion is we're up here and you're down there. Absolutely. And that's what it is.
I'm going to go further. They fucking hate you. They just,
that Ross Desmond statement, that was the killer for me as well, that way, because that was predetermined. That was getting ready out no matter what had happened at that AGM.
So who decides? You've got a PR company. You've got a PR. Somebody decides. There was a gap, a few weeks gap before the AGM. Things had calmed down a wee bit. I can't remember the details now. And you think somebody bright enough to say, right, things have calmed a wee bit. Let's get in here and say, listen, you know what, guys? We've made a roaring cunt of this, but like you get Celtic's best interests at heart. we'll
Try
get
and
we
find
need
some common
the
ground.
January transfer window, transfer will come up, but no. Who the fuck sees the Dermot Desmond statement that he's spoiled brat a boy's going to read out and says, "Aye, that's a good idea. Why don't you read that out in East End of Glasgow? That'll go down a fucking treat."
Yeah.
Who come up with that?
Oh, but what it is, Mark, is it's basically like that Ross Desmond, what he read out and all that. It's basically a case of, Mark, as I said, we're up here, you're down there. You don't speak to us and tell us what to do. We're above ye. Give us your money and shut the fuck up.
Absolutely, Terence, 100%. Give your money and shut the fuck up and handshake. You're back to the 1990s again.
Give your money, it's not your fault. Big boys
It's
done
just
it and ran
for
away.
we're just custodians. Fuck off, give your money, sit there and shut
Mark,
up.
the Eagles that are on that table, Mark, the Eagles that are on those tables up there, they would not entertain the slightest bit of a conversation with the normal working man. Not even remotely. And they will, every one of them will think they're above everyone.
The band of fucking the band or the fan media as well. Axom's even banned. You know, you're just fucking pulling down the shutters here, eh?
Oh, but this is what I'm saying. There's a huge disconnect there, Mark. There's a huge disconnect between the fans and the club. And those people don't give two monkeys about the fans. Not two monkeys.
Ross Dermond's statement is the worst thing I've ever heard, and I'm including the Huns in this. Ross Dermond's statement is the worst thing I've ever heard. He's a football club in my fucking life. And I said on here a long time ago, what's up for Celtic is a very solely Celtic. I sit here with the questions: does the Celtic that I grew up loving and supporting and get fucking soaked to go and see, does it exist anymore?
See that, John, that's spot on.
Ross Desmond couldn't be further away from my world or what I would want to be or what I would want to aspire to than if he fucking tried. I'm just glad I was there at the fucking AGM.
But you get back, I mean, you see what you're saying there, John, you get back, right, even get back to mad times we've kind of grew up watching in football, like even mad stuff that were on in the 80s, the 90s, like England doing the way, like Chelsea, mind all the Chelsea, Luton, Millwall stuff we saw on the telly. Imagine not once did any I can't mind any kind of what is Ross Desmond to us? He's not even like the owner, he's the owner's son, but coming out publicly and just attacking fans so kind of venomously, just attacking the fans of their own club. But a complete and utter generalisation.
You're
sitting there at that AGM, John, and no disrespect, John turned 60 the other week, and a wee granddaughter, wee Annie was born as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. Another wee addition to the Bishop's family. But John,
congratulations.
And a wee grandson.
We've done a podcast about Keane, did we know?
No,
I thought we'd already mentioned that Keane had been born. So that was two additions that John said.
Congratulations, John.
Thanks very much.
But that AGM, John, that's fully all guys older than you and your age group. There's no guys in the Green Brigade sitting there with shares in Celtic. Feed back in the day under the boat off Fergus McCann. Do you know what I mean? That's he read that out. All guys, right? Fair dues. The trust were there and stuff like that. But that wasn't young guys there, John. That wasn't. Do you know what I mean? See, even if you,
I can't get in terms of feel the same. I can't watch that AGM and not think, fuck's sake, this is just absolutely horrendous. When Ross Desmond comes up with that, I'm thinking it. If it called out as anti-establishment, you're thinking, this club was founded to help your forebears, and you're sitting here fucking lecturing me on being fucking anti-establishment, You make me sick. We were in a wee pub in Chelsea after, and he says, "You the fucking sat in here and said it."
Yeah.
And he's
what do you think?
That boy ain't got any way back.
No.
If Dermot Desmond's elbows are hitting wood, the more He's there's no way back for his laddie.
Do you think, John? Do you think, John, that, and this is only hypothetical, do you think that statement being read out was they obviously knew the reaction that was going to be there in the room? It was as clear as day. But do you think that obviously it was an attack on the fans, which was shocking, but do you think that was also a premeditated statement to be read out to basically get the AGM suspended?
Aye.
Yes,
To stop any questions being asked. And by reading that statement out at the start, they knew they were going to get a reaction, and hence they were going to get an opportunity to stop the AGM. And then as a result, to avoid all the obvious questions that were going to come up.
Aye.
Yes, 100%.
I agree. I agree. I think it was all about a setup.
I think even Jeanette Finlay goes up at the start and says,
aye,
any chance you could cut out the videos at the start where you're going to feed us all shite about how good you are, and just cut to the fucking chase here. And they adjourn the meeting, they come back in and they say the meeting's still going to finish at 12:30. So see, a conciliatory board where I said, as I said to you earlier on there, you know, you said we've made a howling cunt, and I say it's we know we've failed to strengthen before the Champions League, we've knocked out the Champions League, we're fucking 24th in the Europa League, we've failed, we want to look, we want to recognise that, we're here to work with you, we love Celtic like you, but somebody's decided, and the meeting will go on as long as it's going to go on. See, the meeting goes on to fucking 6:30 tonight, it goes on to 6:30, eh?
Yeah. I just thought it was a massive.
This meeting will still end at 12:30. So you're right.
I just felt it was a massive smokescreen that they were going to go. 100%. We're going to get a reaction out of this, and we're going to be able to dodge these awkward questions. And basically, we'll say, "Oh, you're too unruly. We tried to have the meeting. You weren't going to allow us to have the meeting. We had to postpone it."
And then the two members of the Green Brigade threatened the heat of security.
See, his boy, what a prick, eh? What a fucking prick! What would you want to give if Dermot Desmond's isn't there anymore, and that's the boy that's taking the reins? Would you want fuck all to do with Celtic? Because I certainly wouldn't want to give that cunt another £800. It's to support the Desmonds. Just what a horrible wee bastard!
I seen somebody.
Excuse my language.
Is it a Nepo baby or something they call these? Like kids that are born into serious money and just never kind of. I read somebody calling them, I'm sure it's a Nepo or something like that. It's these kids that are just born with not even a silver spoon, a platinum spoon in their gob. Do you know what I mean? And
imagine having the audacity. Imagine having the audacity to travel to Gleestand of Glasgow, the poorest areas of Glasgow, and fucking preach to us about being anti-establishment and to a club and a support that was born to support his forebears. You're thinking, fuck off. Me wonder our friend that comes over from Limerick, he was fucking mortified. Absolutely fucking mortified. He's I've got other Irish friends as well in Donegal and in Derry as well, and they feel the same way.
My buddies in St. John are the same. The lad that was over at the Roma game, and he goes to a good few games, and he works a lot of weekends and in the job I work in, and like lots of lads go over, and he just said half time. He says I was out of there. I was just out of there. He said and a lot of them are similar both to you, John. They're just sick of it, and like as you said, when I know it's only across the water from Ireland to Glasgow, it's not far, but it costs so much to get there.
Try walking it. Terence, do you know what I mean? It's a trek. You can't. You're saying it's only for. It's like, but that's silly that you're palling that guys like that and like Welsh and that are leaving at your own time. It's them that I feel sorry for. Do you know what I mean? It is.
Yeah. I was talking to young boys at the Hearts game, and they were over for Belfast for the Falls Road, and they'd come over and went to St Mary's. Just young laddies too, and walked for St Mary's to Celtic Park and done the food bank donations for the Green Brigade and that as well. It was really quite. I felt quite fucking sad for them to see what we've become.
But it's just taken for granted, though. John, it's taken for granted.
See, like guys, see, like if I was still going to the football and stuff like that, see, like guys, you, blah blah. I'd have like met them to the boy. I'd have met him on Wednesday night. Went into the pub, had a few pints and that. Boy, great night. Used to be. Do you know what I mean? Like you met Irish people, and it was a highlight of their year coming out for the again because no of them could come all the time. But Herbert Johnson, young lads, that's his passion. I mean, and those guys are spending hours upon hours, booking holidays, missing shifts, you name it, to come and watch Celtic. It's just depressing the life out of everybody.
Oh yeah, it is, and that's the biggest thing. As I said, like when the Sean South crowd that I'd be in, when they organised the trip and stuff, like, you know, it's not like it's organised a week in advance. They're organising it months in advance, and everyone's getting ready, and lads are putting their few pound away. They're getting their flights and they're getting the tickets. And a lot of cases, we can't fly from Limerick. We've got to first of all get a bus at maybe 4 o'clock in the morning to Dublin. There's no flight from Glasgow or from Shannon to Glasgow. We normally got to go from Dublin to Glasgow, stuff like that. So like, let's do a lot. But as I said, the powers to be, they couldn't care less if it took me 40 hours to get there once they get my money, and they couldn't care less whether I get home or not.
They two young laddies that travelled over from Belfast for the Falls Road and walked to St Mary's to Parkhead. I understand where they're coming from. A damn sight more than fucking Ross Desmond understands, eh?
Oh, 100%, John.
I mean, really, that shocked me. That did. I couldn't believe that when I sat and watched that and heard them reading that.
It just shows how much of a disconnect there is, Mark. It just shows how much of a disconnect between the board and the sport.
I don't think. I don't think the disconnect has ever been
more obvious,
greater in my lifetime.
I mean, let's even face it. Right, we hated the Kellys and the Whites. They were out their depth by a generation. Do you know what I mean? The way football was moving on, they couldn't keep up. But I still think they tried their fucking best. To get what I mean?
Exactly right. You know,
they made a hash of it. Fair dues, fair to step into savers, but
even when we were right, we'd. This is the worst lack of options up front I've ever seen Celtic in my life. And see, even when we were right, if you did a right back, you go and buy a fucking right back. We now got to go and buy a right back. We buy 3 left wingers. What the fuck? It's fucking nuts. It really is. If you didn't laugh, you'd agree. It's bonkers, man.
Then we're all cheering that Big Iheanacho didn't get into that African Nations Cup squad. Then we're injured again.
See, when I seen him hurling his hamstring, I thought that's it. This game's finished.
Big man done well. Got a well set.
Excellent.
Honestly, I think if he stayed on, we would have won that yesterday. I honestly think that was a game changer for us.
Like to pray well, the ball stuck to him, holds the ball up well. You think after he goes off with that hamstring, your options is Kenny, eh? And I'm not criticising. I'm just criticising Celtic. I'm saying that's your options. Even so, you've had a man that died during the week there, Dixie Danes and that as well. You're thinking some of the players. You know, under O'Neill the last time here, we had Sutton up for there. Fuck me, you know.
Maloney.
And somebody else said on the live chat there, he was questioning the Hart. I don't think you can fault the Celtic players for Hart. You can go and watch that game again. That's no Hart. Confused, lost, don't know what they're doing. Maybe your captain's been fucking begging for reinforcements for fucking 2 years. You see, look at the players that's been sold: Kyogo, Giakoumakis, O'Reilly. You know that Jota was a long-term injury, might never ever come back. None of it was fucking replaced. And your man Tisdale sitting there, he spends £12.5 million. We've chased Balak to Wisha. Apparently for 2 years he brings him 2 neckties, £12.5 million. 15 million spent in centre half. Scales is still the best you've got. would you really want to give him in? I wouldn't give him a fucking thing for January. I'd sack him. He's the first one I would sack.
Oh yeah.
If you actually say to me now, right, John, you've got a fucking choice here. You've got one bullet, and either Michael Nicholson gets it, fucking Nancy gets it, or Tisdale gets it. Fucking Tisdale gets it for me.
Well, listen, Tisdale, Mark is John is he's not up to the job. It's just it's as clear as day. He may as well go back to do what he did in Hearts and go back to sleep. But, you know,
it's another one. But like when you look at his CV, how did he even get that job?
I know he has to have some connection in there, Mark, because like you know it wasn't as if he came from a high end thing. Like you're talking about like very, very low level stuff. Like yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's true. The story is that he met Dermot Desmond at a wedding. I don't know if that's true. God
only knows.
I
wouldn't put it past Celtic. Like, well, let's be fair about
that. He came in to replace Lil, son, wasn't he? He came in to replace Baby Lil, but supposedly, I don't know if that's true. But again, as you said, dear Terence, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I mean, even you look at doing it that like even right, but we're never going to go and poach big. Do you know what I mean? Top level coaches and like I'm talking about backroom teams and stuff like that for like the public or that. Look down at the championship for the guys that are doing their job down there and see who young guys that are hungry doing well for the kind of bigger teams in the championship and bring them up.
You've got two fucking managers in Scotland.
Yeah.
They could probably have welded you together better. You've got one in Motherwell and one in Paisley. They could probably have fucking welded you together better for the rest of the season.
Yeah. They'd have structure in place. They'd have organisation.
One in Dunfermline.
Fuck off. Terence, the bullet is just an analogy. It's metaphorical.
Oh, I know that. I know you're not. I know you're not in the classy gnome or anything like that. You're alright.
Totally non-violent.
Oh, I know, but I know you're not in the grassy gnome or anything like that. You're alright.
I tell you, I fucking detest them with a passion. I really do. See when it zoomed in on them yesterday. Fact, they really do. They turn my stomach. Lol, sitting there and. A few previous games, no even celebrating last minute winners and it's the soul of my club has got a big question mark over it.
Well, I said to Mark anyway, and I said to him we were chatting yesterday or texting whatever, and I genuinely said I don't think I'm going to watch Celtic again once this manager is still in charge because I just cannot watch this rubbish anymore. I'd have been better off staying at Santa Claus yesterday.
I was seriously thinking of not going back either. The only thing I've said this to Mark loads of time, you've been part of the discussion as well. It's a whole kind of social thing. Like, with Malady, that's disappointing. Malady said he's no going back. He's no going back this season. This is a massive loss to me because that's the only chance I get to see him. But I love the whole kind of social guys that I meet and I've met in Glasgow for years and many, many years to that whole social aspect to going, you know. And it's just, in fact, I'm telling you, the word that I heard was Urkian said it as well. It's not, I'm not even angry. It's just sad. It's sad. I just think what we could see this word entitled. Are you entitled? We're not entitled. You know, see, if there are any St Mirren fans still hanging in here, 100% congratulations. You're worth your win. Every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Congratulations. I actually had a wee lump of throat watching you the night there. You deserved it. Patter in. No problem there at all. Entitled? No, we're not entitled to win nothing. When Celtic was formed, you could tell Ross Dermond this, we weren't even entitled to a dinner, right? It's but I tell you what we're entitled to be. We're entitled for Celtic to be the best version of yourself that we could be, yeah. We're entitled to Celtic to take 50,000 people's £1,000 and invest it accordingly, yeah. We're entitled for it to appoint people to the board and to the dugout. they're the best, the best that's on the market in terms of their capability. Yeah, that's what I'm entitled to. Am I entitled to win? Am I entitled to win anything? No, but I'm entitled to that. I'm entitled to be the best version. Yeah, Celtic we could be. I'm entitled to have a club that at least had a purpose, a vision, a strategy, and a business plan in terms of. You know, the saddest thing Ross Desmond told you, it gets no better than this. This is as good as it gets. We can't afford to swing and miss. That to me, see, my head just went right down at that point. Just success for you boys has been participating in the group stages for 18 of the last 19 years. Is that right? So that's as good as it gets. Don't ask for any better. Keep your money, sit down, shut the fuck up. You pleb.
Behave yourself. Behave.
And see any credibility, any credibility that fucking Peter Lawwell ever had, anybody ever thought he had, he lost that. He lost that 20 years credibility with one word. And that word is behave,
Aye, like a school teacher talk to you again, just talking down their nose to you, just, innit?
Just the same, they think they're better than you.
It's like a fucking Tory party conference. Right, so that's me. I need to go. I'm up early in the morning, so that's just done 2 hours, man. I
knew once you come on, you wouldn't be able to stop, John. You say that all the time. I'll come on for an hour.
Right, thanks very much for the crack, guys. It's good. It's like therapy,
Oh yeah, it is.
Right, before you go, John. Right, put your thinking for Wednesday against Dundee United.
I don't even know, Mark. I wouldn't trust this to go anywhere and win. I've never want Celtic to lose. I would never. Let's say next 10 games.
I mean, it could click, innit? That's the thing about this kind of thing being like an appointment with Nancy. It could click them. It could click on Wednesday night. We could go out there and beat them 4 or 5. Not, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just to say the wings are gone, we could get beat 3-0 again.
See that game could have went anyway. Yesterday, there's some of the things he's done, apart from the fucking madness, three at the back, and Skills being on the left side of a back three, and fucking Ralston being on the right side of a back three. It's and fucking McCown at left wing back. Apart from all that madness, it's so many times when it did click. There was a time against a wee spell against Roma, a wee spell against Hearts, a wee spell against. I text you yesterday. I said, you know, this would be the one who is watching. It wouldn't be boring under this guy. As I said, if you say to me, 3 choices to go tomorrow, Tisdale, tap him my list, 100%. Nicholson next, Peter Law, 50-50 phone a friend, and Nancy would be third in my list. Put Desmond up there in the top too, his boy. But I just hope the Celtic support don't jump on the easy bandwagon, which is Nancy. Nancy didn't appoint himself. Even if he's fucking mad and out his depth, he didn't appoint himself.
He didn't appoint himself, John, but at the same time, like we discussed earlier on, like he should have been a lot more pragmatic than he was. He came in and he was determined to go 3 at the back, and he was determined, like he was in there 2 days before the Hearts game. He was determined to go 3 at the back. He was determined to do his way. Fine, that's all fine. But the definition is stupidity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And
somebody's got to go and meet him during that interview process and say to him, and they've got to have heard that. They've got to have heard that during that interview process. You think, you know what? You're not the answer,
Yeah, but
somebody did go and meet him during the interview process, and decided he was the answer. So who is that person?
I agree with that, but someone even John should be pulling him aside and going, I know it's probably a bit late now, the horse is bolted, so to speak, but someone should be pulling him aside and going, listen, even a Celtic guy involved in it. He's going, listen, you can't say winning isn't a priority here. You can't say, there's certain things you can't say here. Like to say winning and losing, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. Performance is the important thing. Like they're kind of statements that Celtic fans listen and go, what planet is this guy on? Like you can't say that.
You're thinking all day, who is in the position of authority at Celtic Park to be able to pull up aside and say that to him? Who you speaking about?
But I'm not. I'm just saying, even someone within the footballing side of it, his own assistant, Callum McGregor, some of these guys go, listen, you can't go around and say that winning isn't a priority here. Winning is the only thing here. They didn't care if the ball goes in off a fella's backside and goes in and we win 1-0. It's all about winning. I just think some of his statements and some of his comments, they just come across so poorly. And I just think someone should be pulling him aside and going, listen, maybe think before you speak, because you're saying some things here that are just rubbing people up the wrong way. And three poor results in a row. You know, it's not helping his cause when he does come up with the comments. As I said, to say, I thought we started well against St. Mirren until they scored a goal. They scored a goal after 85 seconds. What do you mean you started well? It was 85 seconds, like.
Straight for a corner to again. Many
Wait,
managers do
3 games in a row.
Yeah. But that's all I mean from that point of view, John. Like, I mean, you mean you can't say you started well and 85 seconds later the other team score a goal. Not sure you started well, like it's 85 seconds, like that's all I mean, like by that. And look, in regards to the game Wednesday, I can't see Celtic getting a result on Wednesday at all. Not with the way this guy is adamant to be 3 at the back, all gung ho. The teams are just going to sit in and try hit Celtic on the break, and I think the players have already, as sad as it is, I think the players a lot of them have lost faith in him. But that it comes across that way, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they lost on Wednesday or a best result is a draw.
But you're a bit like me, John. You're on the fence. Hopefully optimistic.
In terms of
Wednesday night.
it's almost. I just think you get so much. There's so much more to worry about in terms of the general control and direction of the club. As I said, I don't have a problem losing the cup. I don't even have a problem losing the league to Hearts. It's my problem is when, as I said, when is when I'm just repeating myself again. My problem is when a major shareholder's laddie sits and tells me this is as good as it gets, and he can't afford to swing to mass and don't ask for any better than this. That's where I don't know. I don't know how I get in my head. I don't know how in my head I get how I get past that. I go to Celtic Park to obviously the dream was always the benchmark was set, and the year that killed Rangers 67 I'm trying to emulate that. But, the stage was set, and many finals, many semi-finals were in after that again, and that aspiration. We know that the economic realities, and that trying to win the European Cup again is a big ask. But surely Bodo Glen, Copenhagen, or Bright. Surely these clubs are showing you how we could be structured better, managed better. That we could become a better version of ourselves. We could. That's it. And it's so there's no even the recognition. There's no even the recognition that we're no there. Worse than that. We're fucking worse than that. We've got a fucking laddie sitting there telling us that his daddy says if they tell you this is as good as it gets and just be fucking grateful, sit down, shut the fuck up and give your money. So I can't say anything. So I'm struggling to get excited about Dundee United, Mark, to be honest with you. I'm absolutely fucking scared for him, I really am. It's what they've done at the club, managed decline. This is not an accident. This is just even worries me is it's more than fucking incompetence or his managed decline. It's I really don't know where we go for here. It's I would like to end on a more positive note than that, but
There is a window. It's hard to John.
I'm fucking struggling.
No, it's very hard to end on a positive note because there, as I said, talking to Mark about this, there is no positive. There is no positive. Nothing good is going to come out of it. Like nothing good is going to come out of it for me personally. You know, as I said, I'm just not going to watch Celtic.
Good about the club, do you?
No, there's nothing that makes me say to myself, "Oh, I can't wait for a match on Wednesday night," or "I can't wait for the match the weekend." I would dread the match the weekend on Wednesday. I would dread the match the weekend because I cannot. So in the space of 2 weeks or whatever long it is, they've gone from being like where you're expecting them to win a game to now going, I'll be surprised if they win this one. I'll be surprised, and I genuinely will be surprised if they get a draw against Dundee United. That's the God's honest truth. And I can't see that, like, maybe at home they might whatever. I don't know, but I just think the team is so dysfunctional at the minute, and it's just helter skelter. No one knows what's going on, and I just think the whole club is after taking a huge lull since this guy's come in.
I think if you want to pull it back to football again, just answer that football question. And obviously, Mark and I don't agree here, but I would think if you take three things into account, if you take Nancy in charge and the three at the back, the lacking ability to be pragmatic, the massive shortage up front you've got. If you take that, the whole kind of negativity around about the club, and the lack of options up front at the moment, I would say on balance, you put all that together. For me, you're not winning the league.
No, I think the league is done. I think, as I said, if they continue with this guy in the way, I think Hearts will win it comfortably. Hearts will win by 8 or 10 points.
See when it happens, you'll not be able to say it was because of Tony Bloom at Tynecastle. You'll not be able to say it was because of the investment and the strategy of the 49ers. You'll be able to say you shot yourself in the head. Self-inflicted. And that's a sad thing about it.
And if your man continues, Mark, again, as I said, on Wednesday night and on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, to continue with this three at the back and keep playing the way he's going to play, Celtic will just keep shipping goals and shipping goals and shipping goals and shipping goals.
Go and watch. Get a chance. Watch that third goal again.
Did you? So I watched.
I've said for years, anytime people going about, we should have went 3-5-2, anytime terms, I hate three at the back. It's too easy to, see if you get speedy wingers and that, it's too easy to counter-attack, big long diagonal balls. Even people have harked back combat and who played 3-5-2 and should have done it. Rodgers should have done it. I hate it, three at the back. I think it's just so easy, and it's just, it's like,
two big holes.
It's just so basic to get what I mean. I'm sitting just an arsehole watching football, and I've always thought that. No, but I've always seen it in just big long diagonal balls, and they'll always catch it. Especially in the offence to big scales in Ralston. No, the most mobile of people. Do you know? If you're going to do that, you're going to need the right players to do that.
After that first half, I say you think every Celtic sport watch that must be thinking go for it at the back, eh?
Oh yeah. I thought we had to when we saw the lineup. Another false dawn. We were all like, how's this team setting up and that? That looks for at the back.
I thought he was setting up for at the back as well then, but he'd said in the radio he was going 3-5-2,
It was like Moses parting the Red Sea for the third goal, like.
And but see the thing now is I
guarantee he'll do the same tomorrow on Wednesday night. He'll go through the back on Wednesday. He won't change it.
That would be him admitting he's got it wrong for a wee while.
Yeah, see that fourth, they nearly had a fourth as well. They should have busted up that fourth one. They should have been fucking 4-1 at the end. It could have been 5 each that game. It was a mental game. As I said, my thoughts on yesterday was it was a good game to watch, and Hibs St Mirren deserved their victory. My sadness about the Hearts game his Hearts were shite and still won 2-0. It's so no, I'm not confident, but I'm not even as I said, that's my final thoughts. I can take no one in the cup. I can take no one in the league. I just what I can't take is being run by arrogant incompetents that can't make me the best version of ourselves. That all the guys that work hard, working class guys sitting around about you, making big sacrifices. None more so than the people that are coming from Ireland too. To say Declan says £1,000 it costs them to come to Glasgow to see Celtic, and we're entitled to use that word again. We're entitled for us to be the best version of ourselves we could be, and we're a long way from that, So anyway, right, that's me. I need to. Thank you very much, guys, for the crack. Enjoy the comments and that too, and I'll be in touch, Pedro.
Aye, I'll get that sorted, John. I'll get that email passed on to you.
Good to hear you again,
Sorry?
Good to hear you again, on.
You too, mate. You too, and congratulations on the new arrivals.
That's right. I've got a left back and a right back.
They'll be playing. Get another one. You'll have 3 at the back. You'll be grand.
The two of them have already got more hair than them turns.
Yeah, don't get personal about here.
I can't. I forgot. Turns was a wee slap.
If I don't hear from any use between now and Christmas time, have a lovely Christmas.
Yeah, you too, John. You and your family. Yeah.
Stuff like that, John. We'll get you on live here in Derry. We'll get you on live one night with a podcast with you sitting in the pub here in Derry.
Aye, we can do that. That's it. I watched the cup final there last year because I must have been there a week earlier last year. I mean, the one that went to penalties.
The Aberdeen one in May?
No, last Christmas time.
Oh yeah.
Oh. 3 each, and then went to penalties.
Right, aye.
I watched that in Peder's terms.
Oh, lovely.
Peder O'Donnell's in Derry,
Very nice.
When I went to extra time, we nearly missed our flight back home because we went to extra time. But obviously we're a week earlier. We're a week later going this year, so I look forward to it. So I'll not need my suntan lotion then, Terns.
You probably won't know a set of waders and maybe an all Lido and maybe a couple of armbands and you'll be fine.
Good stuff. Right, catch you again, guys.
Good night, John. Good night. Thanks very much for coming on, John, by the way. Thanks. Good night. Right, you there. Anything else you want to moan about or that?
No. Just it's just a hard take, Mark. It's just a hard take to take where they were 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like it's just a huge fall. It's a huge fall.
The full club, as I said there, Terence, the full club just broke. Even down to this with the Green Brigade and stuff like that. I mean, you know how I feel. For me, the Green Brigade's just a bunch of young laddies enjoying their day out. Right? The other stuff with all this with the stewards and the police, a lot of it's nothing worse than what we back in the day when I was going to games when I was young and stupid, Terence, do you know what I mean? But the police have got all these cameras, all these special powers now. There's so many ticket checks. A lot of the stuff I'm like that. Even from my experience, you get into that section, I'm like, how do they need to pull wee guys out the crowd to check tickets and stuff like that? It's just the board's just
there's a targeting of them as well, though, Mark. You know what I mean? But
Peter Lawes would have been his bonnet about them for years.
They're an easy target, you know what I mean? And that's the problem. And I'd say 99.9% of the lads just go for their football, whether it's home or whether it's away. They're young guys, they might have a few beers, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. But the majority of them just go for Celtic, and they're just an easy target, and that's the problem. Because they might be the ones who, excuse the terminology, if it's a protest against a specific thing, they're generally the ones that might be leading the charge.
But it's just always they get the blame.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The target,
Aye.
they're the only ones that it falls on. The hammer, so to speak, always falls on them. It's always their fault. They're always caused it. It's always they've instigated it. They've done X, Y, and Z. And it's just they have a target on their back, and they seem hell bent on blaming them for whatever happened. And it's wrong, like, but that's the way they have it at the minute.
I said earlier that with the AGM and that, and all terms, I told like that was a pure set up for a reaction.
What was they were
You know what I
listen,
mean?
Mark, they knew that the reaction was going to come. That was obvious. It was clear as day. If you insult the people that are sitting in front of you, most of them, I would imagine, old enough to be his father.
Aye, that's what I mean, John. That's what I said earlier. They're all old guys and like women, and there's no the Green Brigade are not sitting there. Honorary them sitting there saying we're Celtic shareholders. Do you know what I mean? This was that guys that bought shares when Fergus McCann was saving Celtic, and that's who it was that he was speaking, didn't he, like that?
Yeah, and as I said I have no doubt in my mind that was a pre-plan to obviously one, that it was a very, very strongly worded and unnecessarily worded statement that was very clear and in its meaning and its direction, and was only going to get one reaction, and it allowed them then to get out of jail card and go, this is just we can't continue, we can't ask questions, we can't answer questions with all the shouting and roaring, we're going to adjourn and then we come back and then we're going to suspend it. It was played to a blinder by them.
Aye. And then they brought it, they said
and then they all got voted in.
Then but they came out with went to two like kind of so-called intermediaries for the intermediaries or something for the Green Brigade threatened the head of security outside the place or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Let's be honest. See if you're a Celtic head of security and two wee slaughters, you shouldn't have been the job. It's like I've seen a thing and it was like, and they said the police officer was in a state of alarm. If you're a police officer, a couple of young guys that are shouting and pushing about at the football turn shouldn't be putting you in a state of alarm if you're a police officer, surely.
Well, first of all, Mark, I imagine the individual, whoever the police officer is not by themselves. In a football match, there's normally a lot of police in the area. So I doubt very much that there was one individual just happened to be in a section or in an area by himself or by herself, whatever it may be. So yeah, look, I think there's a lot of false stories or fabricated stories, or a lot of it doesn't make sense. But look, the problem is this is an ongoing and a continuing sequence with Celtic, and between Celtic and the Green Brigade been targeted, and then the Green Brigade been targeted by the authorities, and Celtic support has been targeted by Celtic. And it's just got so dysfunctional, and so there's like such a huge disconnect there. And then this hasn't helped. This manager, at least Martin O'Neill, had kind of quelled it to an extent because he had been winning, and fans were happy that said they were back winning and winning in Europe, which is something that they haven't done in a long time. And now they've reverted back to an individual that's not qualified to do the job. And it's only going to incense fans even more, because they will think it's more the biscuit tin mentality of getting probably the lowest level manager they could get, and assuming that it'll be okay because we're in the SPL and blah 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 and all the rest of it. And it's massively backfired. And like I don't know how much longer. I know it sounds funny, the lads had managed 3 games, but like Postecoglou lasted 8 games at Forest. He might not last 8 games with Celtic.
Oh, I don't. It's baffling. I mean, I was even. I'm not for like reasons we spoke about. Right, I'm not saying that like we want him to be Celtic manager, but did I send you that thing with Robbie Keane talking about why you went to abroad to coach and stuff like that rather than have to work in England? He was like, well, I'm for Ireland. England's not the kind of be all and end all of where you need to be kind of stuff. And I mean, again, Robbie Keane was mentioned as a manager. I wouldn't want him, but we've scoured, supposedly we've scoured the globe turns for this, for our next coach, our next manager, and we've landed at this guy. He came even in the betting terms, as I said earlier, where the fuck did he come from in the betting? Where did his name pop up in that circle? It's baffling to me.
But the only way the only way, Mark, that name could physically come into the betting or come into the circle, in my opinion, is that's come from Celtic. That's come from someone within Celtic, because Tisdale had a connection of sorts.
Aye.
So that's the only physical way that Nancy fella had a connection to Celtic. Someone within Celtic, whether it's Tisdale or someone like that or whatever, and it slowly leaks into the press that, oh, this guy Nancy Celtic have looked at this guy as well from the MLS, and then you get a few other people that talk like, I heard Rio Coco, and then obviously Henri spoke about him because they know him and blah, 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 blah. And suddenly just gathered legs, and all of a sudden he's in there. And then you see things like McKenna's 5 million, and this fella's X amount, this fella won't be available in January. And slowly but surely one fella falls off and another fella falls off, and he slowly climbs further up the list and further up the list and further up the list.
And Gordon Strachan came out and said, didn't he, weeks ago, they're not getting a new manager to begin in December or something. So obviously, even back then, you kind of knew. And I'm just like, where did this come from? It was just bizarre.
Whereas I'd have much rather, and I know I'm not going to say it's necessarily Stephen Ramsey because he won with St. Mirren, but I'd have much rather have said we're going to do something like that. They got a fella from the SPL. Like a fella from the SPL is a lot more qualified than this guy.
Aye.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
I got a text message from one of my pals saying that Nancy is at 1 point in front of the Huns appointment. And as you say, right, and I joke about it because they've went and get Neil Lennon back in to keep us at 1 point in front of the Huns. And Neil Lennon would have won the fucking cup yesterday with Neil Lennon manager. Let's not be kidding.
Oh yeah, listen, Mark, you could have listened from the talks with O'Neill. He said he was willing to stay until the end of the season. How true that is, how true that isn't, I don't know. But again, as I said, to go back to the conversation that O'Neill had with your man, he was looking to give his input, your man, and help him out. And from all accounts, it was a 15-minute conversation. Your man kind of had fobbed him off, saying, "Oh, I'm going to play this way." Again, how true that is, how true it isn't, I don't know. But listen from reports, and this came from allegedly from O'Neill himself to say that your man basically was like, no, I'm going this way. He didn't care what anyone had said to him. His notion was, I'm coming in and I'm going to trade the back. This way up there. I'm going to trade the back. And so be it. And hell or high water, this is what I'm going to do. And you just have to get on with it. So like as I said, you see, if it was Stephen Robson, if it was Jim Goodwin would have been able to set up the team to manage in the SPL. I'm not saying it should be Celtic manager before anyone says anything, but I'm just using it as an example.
Aye. Terms, if that's the board's ambition, is just to be the best in Scotland, might as well give one of these like so-called weird teams in Scotland's managers a chance at it, because I mean, if this guy we've got, what's his qualifications for getting it? That's, do you know what I mean?
There is no Mark. I mean, they could have given the job to Sean Maloney. I'm not saying again they should have, but they could have, because he's more qualified. He was a Belgian number 2. He's a European experience. He's been involved with big players.
He managed himself. Was it Wigan, Maloney?
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Terms again, it wouldn't have been an ideal choice, but.
No, but considering what's there now, we've got the most. I would probably say Celtic have probably got the most unqualified manager that I can remember in my time watching Celtic. If that makes any sense, I think he's probably the most unqualified guy to manage Celtic.
Because even the Daft Punch for Fid terms, they'd a good playing career to back them up. Like Macari, do you know what I mean? Like Lou Macari, Liam Brady. I mean, Liam Brady was a cracking coach. He only ran the Arsenal Academy for years. It didn't work out. But even walking in there, you know what I mean? Liam Brady was a tier again. Did something in terms of players could respect and listen to.
Yeah. But he was known, man.
Did a CV, did a CV. Even John Barnes, England international, you know what I mean? Stuff, aye.
And even when Barnes came in, he came in a sense under Dalglish's wing, and Dalglish had been manager of obviously Blackburn and stuff like that. He came in under Dalglish's wing to kind of guide him. Okay, look, it went horribly wrong, but again, everyone knew John Barnes. Everyone in the dressing room knew John Barnes. Like, I don't think if you asked any Celtic player there, apart from Alistair Johnson, because he played in the MLS and all that kind of stuff, have you ever heard of this guy? I would say if you honestly asked them, they would have all said no.
Maybe Carter Vickers playing America, because he's American, maybe know who he is. He'll probably sit bored out his skull watching that MLS.
Maybe, but like...
see, one of the things that put me right away, it was a wee guy, I've said it before on here and put links to it on the Discord. And
the Montreal fella.
Aye, that wee Montreal guy.
He said he was
right away, he was like, I've watched this and that, I've seen this. And if this guy sat there and watched the guy's team for 2 years, you've got to pay attention to what he's saying. Let's be realistic terms, you know what I mean? And right away,
he was watching first hand, like.
Aye. He said right away, this is miles out of his depth. This is no going to work. And blew apart all the myths and all the wee clips and all the wee sound bites that made him sound great and that. And he clipped on and showed how shite it actually all was.
This is the problem, as I said, Mark. I know I'm repeating myself, but like, it's the statements that he's making, the media conferences that he's talking, like. He keeps going on about, oh yeah, look, we're happy with the performance and this, and we started well, and it's not about winning and losing, it's about performance, and I need the players I need time to this and buying it. And you're there going, like, this is not the MLS. You don't have time. You don't the defeat drawn for Celtic is a problem. Defeat at Celtic is unheard of generally. But now it's become nearly expected that we're going to lose, which is shocking. Like, do you know what I mean? The notion of Celtic in Europe or competing in Europe is like my hair. It's long. This is now Celtic trying to compete in the SPL. Like,
aye. And again, everybody, like, you're thinking. Your hope, we're all hoping positive, struggle get by to January and then spend some money in the squad. But again, we get back there. That game we lost last week to Hearts, and that's us trailing again. And it's just a matter of time for me with Nancy. It really is. It's been a bit of an appointment like that. Russell Martin. As soon as he came in, you were like, this isn't going to last. Just nothing's tuning in right with that. Just didn't feel right at all. And for me, that Nancy is like that kind of appointment for me. It's just a matter of time. And do we take your punt? Do we get rid of him? And what do we do? Do we back him in January? And then you don't back him, and again you're back to blaming the board, and just a pure absolute clusterfuck to us, a full club now.
But the problem with the transfer window, Mark, is the transfer window has repeatedly been shocking when there's been a lot better managers there than him. The man above him, who's his friend, who was asleep, or his eyes were certainly closed against Hearts, hasn't a notion of what to do. If he's saying that Balaquisha was a fella they were scouting for 2 years and all these other players, he doesn't know his arse from his elbow, to be quite frank. And if he's the guy that you're going to rely on to go, here's X, Y, and Z to spend on players, then I'd rather close my eyes and throw darts to the page and see which player it lands on. because I'd rather say to Stephen McMahon, Stephen, will you pick out a couple of players in this SPL that you think would be half decent for us? And I know that sounds a really stupid statement to make, but I'm going to make it that way because I would have zero faith in Tisdale, because he has proved he's proved another one to be massively incompetent. He's obviously involved in some of the signings. He's obviously involved in Nancy coming in. I mean, if you operated the same way that some of these people have operated in your job, you'd get a tap on the shoulder and told, sorry, look, we're gonna have to let you go because you made a complete arse of things. Do you know? So I don't know.
It's the recruitment. I mean, that jailer Hevra, he's away. Lefevre, whatever it is you called him. So that's the heat of scouting away. Even down to the fact with Rodgers as a manager, right? So the players that we were scouting for Rodgers' team, are they out the window now? We have to start from scratch again now that Nancy's in.
But they probably do, Mark, because if he's
that's what I was talking about earlier, Terence, about where's the fucking continuation
But the problem is, if a man's going to come in and he wants to play, he's determined to play this three at the back and this kind of football and the whole lot. And you go, well, we have to now get players that can play at this. So does that mean that no longer play Scales, we no longer play Trusty, we no longer play Taneki, we no longer play Kenny, we no longer play because these guys can't play. We get rid of because he continues to do the ball.
We need to bring in players that can do it, but we need to get rid of the players that can't.
Do they think that the Celtic support are going to go? Yeah, we'll be okay for 3 or 4 windows, and we get knocked out of cups, and we don't win the league anymore, and we don't win any league cups. Yeah, we'll be okay for 3 or 4 seasons, not win anything. The hell they will. Celtic lose a match, and it's a crisis. They've lost 3 games in a row. 1 to Hearts in a cup final, and they've lost to Roma. Yes, we discussed it. Roma, fair enough, they're a far superior team to Celtic. That aside, it's performance. The performance that Celtic put in against Roma was absolutely pathetic. No one knew what the hell they were doing. And then to lose to Hearts the way they did, and to lose to St. Mirren the way they did, again, it's not the way they're playing, and everything about it is just dreadful. And as I said to you, Mark, I'd be very surprised if I watch Celtic again while he's still in charge. I really would, because it's just dreadful to watch.
It's just I say the full club's just fractured really into so many different.
I'm just so disillusioned with the whole lot of
it. Aye. You know what I mean? But see, like we talk about it all the time in that terms, and the thing again is, there's nobody really taking the responsibility for the fuck ups, right? Because even right, according to Rodgers had the final say on every signing. Right, he said it himself, but then he was going on about club signings, and then his other part, and all everyone on about was that how they didn't get players in the summer and stuff like that. Martin Hill came in, get the team playing, and then we've got Nancy in, and we've just regressed back to as you say, Terence, the players don't look as if they know what they're doing on the park.
No,
which is ridiculous for the players. The players we've got, I mean, everybody's going on about Scales and that. I mean, Scales is an Irish international. I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as a lot of Celtic players, Celtic supporters make him out to be. But the last couple of games, he's been honking because it's you've got to play to your players' capabilities. If you're a manager, you can't ask a player to do something they can't do.
Exactly, and this is the problem. He's asking players to do things that they physically can't do. Luke, I've said it already a few times. I'm sorry to be a broken record, but telling Luke McGowan you're going to be left wing back. When have you seen Luke McGowan play left wing back? And James Forrester was in the middle of the park. You're there looking at him going like, do you even know what position these players play like?
It's like we used to talk about terms. So many times we talk about putting big high punts into the box to Kyogo and expecting him to win. He doesn't. Do you know what I mean? It's never going to work. He physically can't grow a fit and win. He does, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And look, it's just, I just, the problem is with the market. I can't see a solution to this. I can see a solution, but the solution is that your man has to go. But then the problem, they'll argue, well, who comes in, and there's all that goes with it. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but I don't see them getting a result against Dundee United on Wednesday. And it's, the best, I think, is a draw, because they cannot not concede. That's the problem. They're like a sieve. They're just wide open. They just leak everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at all the games with under Neil, and you look at the last few games. They conceded 2 against Hearts. They conceded 3 against Rome. It could have been 4, could have been 5, and they conceded 3 against St. Mirren, and they've scored 2. So they've conceded 8 goals and scored 2. It should be Celtic scoring 8 goals and conceding 2.
Aye.
And that's the problem. So this guy looks like he's an individual that is not going to change the way he plays. He's going to play 3 at the back, and if they keep playing 3 at the back, the players that are there's no holding midfielders, there's no solid guys in the front of it. They're just going to be like we discussed there a while ago, Mark. They're just going to be torn apart, because the opposition are going to play long diagonal balls, and they're going to be dragging whoever the centre back is left and right, and fellas aren't going to win. The people aren't going to get back, and this is what I see. And look, as I said, I just don't see any positive out of all that, to be honest. Sorry about all that.
No, don't blame you, Terence. Hey, that's 9 bells. We'll wind that up, bud.
We will indeed. Yeah, we will. I'll take the old. I'll take it for a walk.
Thanks very much for coming on, Terence, bud, honestly.
No, you're more than welcome, pal. It's always my pleasure.
Same to JFP, thanks for coming on. Everybody in the live chat, thanks very much for listening. If you listen back, thanks very much. Hope you enjoy what we're doing. Remember, hit the like button. If you know how, leave a comment on the YouTube channel. And if you still, again, with our Christmas appeal for the food bank, if you can afford to pitch in anything, please do. Really do a power of good for people. Hail, hail, good night, and God bless.